Rakesh Rao is a photographer, filmmaker, and a science enthusiast who specializes in documenting science expeditions and research activities. He has been involved in several projects, and his work has taken him to all the three chrysospheric polar regions, making him amongst the few documentary filmmakers to do so. I'd like to invite Mr. Rakesh Rao to give a brief about his film so that we can proceed with the screening.
Yeah,
Over to
hi.
you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me and playing my film. It's a great honor to be a part of Students Festival and Cinephile Festival. I'm very happy to share this film with you all. The film is called Climate Challenge, and it's a 23 minutes documentary film talking about climate change. And it's not called climate change, it's called climate challenge for a particular reason. Because you might see several films talking about climate change. But when we talk about climate change, we never realize that how much of work has gone by these scientists who go to these extreme regions to actually get climate data, and also some life-threatening situations where that you will see in the film. So the film will take you on a journey to the three cryospheric polar regions, Arctic, Antarctic, Himalayas, and also the Southern Ocean. And we'll talk about the issues of climate issues out there. And at the same time, also tell you what goes behind the scenes of how these scientists end up getting their climate data. So the film is available online. So the idea was to put it up in public domain so that we share and create awareness as much as possible. So feel free to download the film and share it with everyone or watch it online. It's available on Climate Challenge website. So thanks a lot again for having me here, and I hope you all enjoy the film.
Thank you, sir.
It's summer, here in the Arctic. The Arctic tundra is teeming with wildlife and abundant vegetation that helps support the fragile ecosystem. 1,200 kilometers from the North Pole, Ny-Ålesund is the northernmost settlement in the world. Once an active coal mining hub, today it is a buzzing science village. The Arctic is warming faster than any other part of the world, and the evidences are now easily getting noticed here.
I'm very impressed by the changes. It's every year, since 2006, really climate change is happening here very much. Until 2006, the people here could cross the fjord in winter to the other side. Every winter there was enough ice to walk over the ice. Since 2006, it hasn't happened anymore. So that's just, and it means that when the fjord is covered with ice, then the warm water can't go to the atmosphere. But when there's no ice, all the warm water goes to the atmosphere, the heat goes to the atmosphere, and also water vapor goes to the atmosphere. And that makes Arctic amplification, that makes it more temperature increase in the Arctic than everywhere else.
The Arctic sea ice cover has declined over 30% in the recent years. This rapid ice melt has drawn the attention of the entire world, including Indian scientists. As of 2008, Indian scientists have been actively involved in studying the Arctic region by establishing a permanent research station, Himadri. The scientists here have been trying to understand the complex processes and the hydrological changes in these Arctic fjords and the surrounding environment by implementing several long-term monitoring programs. What happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic. A recent study does indicate a strong teleconnection between the Arctic and the Indian monsoon. The rapid melting and retreating glaciers have been raising concerns about our future. These are not isolated phenomena that are seen only in the Arctic, but similar effects are being observed in one of the high-altitude cryospheric regions on the Earth, the Himalayas. The majestic land of tall mountains and glaciers is currently one of the world's most sensitive hotspots to global climate change. A new report suggests that at least a third of the Himalayan glaciers are expected to melt by the end of this century, a situation that is predicted to intensify in the coming years, with dire and far-reaching consequences on availability of water, food, and energy. All the major North Indian rivers owe their origin to thousands of glaciers in the Himalayan region. Nearly 1.5 billion population depend directly on these rivers. According to the latest glacier inventory, there are about 9,575 glaciers in the Indian Himalayan region. With changing climate, there are empirical evidences of how the melting of these glaciers are affecting both regional as well as global climate. A team of scientists are now braving the odds to carry out research in these extreme conditions and jagged terrain to understand the impact of changing climate on these glaciers. This team is currently monitoring 6 benchmark glaciers in the Lahaul and Spiti region. Today, they are planning to investigate the Suthri Dhaka Glacier.
We are heading to Suthri Dhaka Glacier. It is around 25 square kilometers in area and 11 kilometers in length, and it is our benchmark glaciers. We are studying that glaciers very thoroughly. So we are starting our scientific activities first from Suthri Dhaka Glacier. So we are taking scientific equipments like flow tracker and then differential GPS, coder and other equipments, and we'll be starting our scientific activities from tomorrow. So we'll be pitching an advanced camp today, and from tomorrow we'll start our activities.
The team, along with the porters who have been camping at the high-altitude research station Himansh, will initially need to climb to an altitude of around 4,500 meters through a highly menacing terrain. On reaching the snout, they will then have to trek another 6 kilometers on the glacial ice, covered with dust and debris, to reach the advanced camp. The team's primary objective is to undertake the glacial mass balance studies. Over the years, they have installed a network of bamboo stakes throughout this glacier.
We drill deep down to 10 to 12 meter, and we install the stakes depend on the melting rate of this location. So this location, the almost melting rate is 5 to 6 meter per annum. So we try to install the stakes almost 10 to 12 meter, because at least one time installation will continue for 2 years.
Every year, they observe the glacier melting by measuring the exposed stakes. The next day, the team prepares to head to an altitude of 5,200 meters in the accumulation zone. Adhering to all the safety protocols, they carefully navigate through the crevasse zones. Here, the team digs a pit to measure the depth and density of snow, giving them an estimate of snow accumulation over the last season. This data, along with the stake measurement in the ablation zone, are used to calculate the mass balance of this glacier. Over the last couple of years, the team has seen a negative trend among all benchmark glaciers, indicating the effects of changing climate. At the front line of climate change are the oceans that are getting impacted by increasing carbon dioxide levels. Here, at 65 degrees south latitude in the Southern Ocean, close to the Antarctic coast, the captain of the expedition vessel, S.A. Agulhas, carefully navigates through these ice-clogged waters, knowing others have attempted and failed. Southern Ocean has an immense influence on the Earth's climatic system. This ocean encompasses the Antarctic continent and connects the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. It stores and transports more heat and carbon dioxide than any other latitudinal band on Earth. Large amounts of carbon dioxide is locked away in the cold bottom waters of the ocean than in the atmosphere. Extreme conditions make it one of the worst places to conduct any scientific studies. Now, an Indian scientific expedition is attempting to unravel the mysteries of this ocean. Over the next few weeks, the team will stop at several multidisciplinary locations. Here, the team will operate several instruments that would collect scientific data, water, and biological samples from different depths, and also monitor several atmospheric parameters. During the last several decades, this part of the ocean is witnessing some drastic consequences due to the increase in ocean acidification. Scientists are also noticing a warming trend in these deep waters, that store large amounts of carbon by acting as a carbon sink. Another source of carbon storage that is rapidly getting affected by the increase in global temperatures are the Arctic permafrost. The degrading permafrost in the Arctic region could pump billions of additional tons of methane and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere every year. A threat that has yet to be fully accounted for in climate models.
Permafrost is any land that remains 0 degrees Celsius or less continuously for 2 years or more. And so this is a typical landform that is available in cold climate, mostly available in the northern hemisphere, but there are some permafrost starting to come out or being discovered in the southern hemisphere as well, some available in Antarctic.
Here, in Neolazin, scientists are noticing patterns of rapid thawing of these permafrost regions. In order to reach the study area, precautions are taken by mandatorily carrying a rifle while leaving the settlement, as a preventative measure against any encounter with polar bears. Scientists are discovering destabilized landscapes where permafrost that once thawed a few inches a year can now abruptly thaw up to several feet within days or weeks, and thereby accelerating emissions of up to 1,600 gigatons of carbon that is still locked underground. Thawing permafrost also has a huge impact on natural ecosystems, economy, landscapes, and also on growing infrastructures.
This is actually a very good example of what permafrost thawing or rapid thawing can do to infrastructure. This is an old, I believe, water pipeline, or might be, I think it's a water pipeline. So it is sitting on top of some poles, and so over the years, what happened? The permafrost underneath it thawed, and actually it thawed a lot more than expected, and this whole like the line, it just tilted to the side.
The threat to landscape and infrastructure due to climate change are also evident in the Himalayas. The team is monitoring a proglacial lake created by retreating Gapong Gat Glacier. Situated at an elevation of around 4,000 meters, this proglacial lake is a potential candidate for a glacial lake outburst flow event. Over the last 4 decades, the studies have indicated that the volume of the lake has increased by over 20 times. Proper monitoring and management of such glacial lakes across the Himalayas are now essential to prevent calamities, considering its close proximity to civilization downstream. Understanding the impact of climate change in the Himalayas isn't just challenging, but also extremely difficult, owing to these highly undulating and unforgiving terrains and abruptly changing weather phenomena. During a regular monitoring visit to Bara Shigri Glacier, the team gets trapped in an intense snowstorm and loses contact with the base camp. "5 days of battling the extreme weather and snowfall, team finally manages to return to a safe place from where they were evacuated. After carrying out majority of scientific operations in the Antarctic waters, the team has now started the return leg. Sighting of icebergs has now reduced, and the water is no longer calm. As the research vessel heads back, the captain gets updates of an approaching cyclonic storm. While he charts a course to avoid the storm, the weather packs in. The team is put on high alert and is advised to stay indoors. All scientific operations are now put on hold. After almost 2 days of intense rolling and pitching, the storm has now subsided. Storms like these only further explain the extreme difficulties and challenges of conducting any scientific studies in these waters. A clever way of carrying our observation in these waters is by deploying a specialized float known as ARGO. ARGO, or Array for Real-Time Geostrophic Oceanography, is an international program that uses profiling floats to observe temperature, salinity, currents, and bio-optical properties in the oceans around the world through the years.
So we're going to deploy a biogeochemical float, which is part of the SOCOM project, the Southern Ocean Climate and Carbon Observations and Modeling Project. So this is like an ARGO float. It's equipped with a CTD sensor and an antenna to send the data via satellite. And then it has also some biochemical sensors like the fluorometer and backscatter, nitrate and oxygen and pH. So like a normal float, it will descend to 1,000 meters and it will drift at 1,000 meters for 10 days. After which it will descend to 2,000 meters and then it will profile up to the surface, sending the data via the antenna on the top. And then it will repeat the cycle.
These floats have played a vital role in increasing our understanding of the ocean, as the data from these floats have helped the scientists comprehend the seasonal changes. Our world is changing, and we are on the brink of climate crisis. Scientists today are using the latest technology and braving some of the harshest conditions on this planet to investigate these effects of changing climate. To watch few among billions take it upon themselves to face these odds, the greatest of odds in the coming times, do we act or do we sit back and let the inevitable unfold? This is the climate challenge.
Yep, I hope you all liked the film.
That was a very insightful film, sir. Thank you for the experience. Um, Next up, I'd like to invite, yeah, yes, sir.
Sorry, just in case, because of the online streaming and the issues of lagging, if somebody wants to watch the film is available on YouTube. If you can just log on to that site, it's available there.
Thank
Just
you so
wanted to
much.
add that.
Next up, I'd like to invite Naman to give a kickstart to the session and give a brief introduction about Charu ma'am so that she can invite our guest.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's fine. Good morning. Professor Dr. Charulata Singh, Dean, Department of Media Studies, which is a renowned media academician. With around 22 years of experience in media and media education, she has been part of WIPS more than 15 years. She has 8 books, 13 chapters, around 70 paper publication and paper presentation to her credit. She has copyright for the concept of individual social responsibility and for coining the word digiteracy. She is a resource person to various universities and widely traveled to 21 countries for personal and professional reasons. A poetess at heart. Ma'am, we are grateful to have you here. So, science and cinema, when put together, make a great output. It provides a better vision of what's happening around us and help us to incorporate the scientific temperament in our day-to-day life. This year, Cinephile collaborates with Vigyan Prasad, and we have eminent personality from Vigyan Prasad to share his insight for the same. I'd like to invite ma'am to share few words on Cinephile 2020 and address for the next panelist, Mr. Nimish Kapoor, for the session ahead. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Thank you, Naman, for such an elaborate, introduction. And I first of all, I welcome everyone for this session this morning on Cinephile. This is the 6th Cinephile which we are organizing. So I welcome Mr. Nimish Kapoor. I welcome Dr. Ramesh Sharma and please mute. I think one students, please, yeah, somebody was, okay. All right. So I welcome all the students, all the faculty members, and I welcome Mr. Nimish Kapoor for this session on Cinephile. To give the brief or the background of Cinephile, our institute, our department has been organizing these, the film discussions and film screenings because it is an integral part of mass media, and we have been organizing since the beginning of the course in our institute for almost 20 years. So uh, when we think about the Cinephile, in 2014, it was thought that we have film screenings and film discussions, but to add the element of competition into the films. And that is how the idea of Cinephile came into being, and took the shape of a film festival. And as part of film festival, again, we have the competitive categories, we have film screenings, and we have film discussions. And so as part of Cinephile, we have organized 2 national film festivals, and having very good entries from all over India. And 2 times we have organized international film festival in which we had almost 130 entries almost each time, and out of those 50 to 60 entries from abroad on various themes and issues which were there. So this is how the Cinephile has been growing, and very eminent personalities from the film background background have been part of Cinephile, such as Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, Mike Berry, then Vijay Bedi, Satish Kapoor, Amrita Dhawan, Bibi Nagpal. So the list is endless, and they have contributed as guests for the discussions and for, as part of the jury. If I talk about the film festival which we organized last year, the Cinephile, as part of Cinephile last year, we collaborated with the IFUNA, International Film Federation of United Nations Association. As part, we associated for the cause of conservation of water, and a lot of films were screened, and there were various films in the category of competitions. And as part of that, we also saw we had the privilege of inviting and listening to Shri Rajendra Singh Ji, the Waterman of India, along with Mr. Vijay Joda, Diwan Singh, and various other personalities. So if I talk about this year we have the theme COVID and digital literacy. However, earlier when we thought of it, it was we were little skeptical, and we anticipated less entries into the competitive categories. However, we have still, a good number of competitive films which can go into the competitive categories, and we have shortlisted 5 films from this competition, and so this is how we are organizing it, and I congratulate Cinephile 2020 and Dr. Ramesh Kumar Sharma for this time for collaborating with Vigyan Prasar. And from Vigyan Prasar, we have Nimish ji here. And with the Vigyan Prasar, I am sure that the association will go a long way, and our students will be associated with Vigyan Prasar in making films related to science, and this will open up another area for our students. And thank you for that, Mr. Nimish Kapoor. And I believe that association of Vigyan Prasar with WIPS will go a long way, and we will participate in various areas together. And so once again, on behalf of faculty, on behalf of students, staff, on behalf of Professor Siddharth Mishra and the WIPS management, I welcome you for this session and in the Cinephile 2020 of WIPS. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us and for associating with us. Thank you. Yes, Manya, Naman, you can take over.
Ma'am. We'd like you to share a brief about the film that was screened and talk about cinema and science that go hand in hand.
Thank you, Manya. And I am delighted to be here. Thank you, Charuji, Rameshji, and all coordinators of Spandan, all students, faculty, and my friend, Mr. Rakesh Rao. I would like to inform that Rakesh film, आपने अभी जो देखा Climate Challenge, इसको हमारे नेशनल फेस्टिवल में इस बार अनाउंस हुआ है रिजल्ट 27 नवंबर को, और मैं कांग्रेचुलेट करूंगा राकेश को दोबारा से। इनको एक नहीं 4 अवार्ड्स मिले हैं। हमारा जो गोल्डन बीवर अवार्ड है प्रोफेशनल कैटेगरी में जो नंबर 1 अवार्ड है वो मिला है आई थिंक 1.5 lakhs इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, एंड कैश और ट्रॉफी एंड सर्टिफिकेट। उसके अलावा 3 अवार्ड्स और मिले हैं इनकी फिल्म को। अब वो हमारी फिल्म हो गई है, अब इनकी नहीं रही, वो हमारी फिल्म है। जो सिनेमेटोग्राफी, स्क्रिप्ट और एडिटिंग। तो आपने जो यहाँ पर हमारे फिल्म एंथुसियास्ट हैं और स्पंदन के जो डेलीगेट्स हैं, पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, उन्होंने जो फिल्म देखी होगी उसमें बहुत कुछ सबक लेने वाला है। फिल्म मेकर आपके सामने बैठे हैं जो मेरे बोलने के बाद आपसे मुखातिब होंगे और आपके सवालों के जवाब देंगे। मैं बहुत ज्यादा तो नहीं, लेकिन हाँ 5-7 पॉइंट्स में अपनी बात कहूंगा। विज्ञान प्रसार एक इंस्टीट्यूट है, ये मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में आता है, भारत सरकार का एक नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन है। और पिछले 30 वर्षों से अधिक हो रहे हैं हम काम कर रहे हैं, अलग अलग हमारे प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं या डिपार्टमेंट्स हम कह लें, जिसमें से एक डिपार्टमेंट हमारा फिल्मों पे काम करता है और पब्लिशिंग पे काम करता है और साइंस न्यूज पे काम करता है। तो ये तीनों ही डिपार्टमेंट का देखने का सौभाग्य मुझे मिल रहा है यहाँ पर विज्ञान प्रसार में। और इन में हमने एक नेशनल और एक इंटरनेशनल 2 साइंस फिल्म फेस्टिवल शुरू किए हैं। पिछले 11 सालों से हमारा नेशनल साइंस फिल्म फेस्टिवल ऑफ इंडिया चल रहा है, जो आपको गूगल में, यूट्यूब में हर जगह मिलेगा। इसकी क्लिपिंग्स, इसके स्पेशल प्रोग्राम्स, इसका कवरेज, तो आप देखें उसको। और मैं चाहूंगा कि अगले एडिशंस में हम विप्स को भी अपना पार्टनर बनाएं और आपका एक एकेडमिक कोलैबोरेशन हमारे साथ में हो। बहुत सारे स्कोप हैं, बहुत काम हम कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि पूरा कैनवास खाली पड़ा है, बहुत हमें रंगना है उसको, बहुत कुछ हम बना सकते हैं इसमें। तो अभी मैं अपनी बात, एक तो विज्ञान प्रसार का आपको मैंने परिचय दे दिया, आप गूगल करेंगे विज्ञान प्रसार को, और विज्ञान प्रसार के बारे में मैं ब्रीफ में आपको यह बताना चाहूंगा कि हम जितना भी पॉसिबल मीडिया है, ये डिजिटल, प्रिंट, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक, सोशल मीडिया और जो भी प्लेटफॉर्म हो सकते हैं देश में, हम सभी को एक्सप्लोर करते हैं, सभी से हम कोलैबोरेशन करते हैं, सभी जगह हम कोशिश करते हैं कि हर मीडिया से हम आम आदमी तक साइंस को पहुंचाएं। ये हमारा एक मैंडेट है। और हम फिल्मों में काम करते हैं, हम दूरदर्शन के संग काम करते हैं, आकाशवाणी के संग काम करते हैं। और अभी पिछले लगभग 1 साल से हम एक अपना चैनल हमने लॉन्च किया है, उसका नाम है इंडिया साइंस। मेरा इंटरनेट कनेक्शन कुछ प्रॉपर नहीं है, मेरी आवाज अगर कहीं ब्रेक हो रही हो तो आप मुझे प्लीज बता दें। तो इंडिया साइंस के नाम से हमारा एक OTT चैनल है, जो आप गूगल करेंगे, उसको आप अपने मोबाइल पे गूगल प्ले स्टोर में जाके इसका ऐप डाउनलोड भी कर सकते हैं। जियो ऐप में भी ये मिलेगा आपको, इंडिया साइंस नाम से। तो इंडिया साइंस में बहुत सारी संभावनाएं हैं, आप उसके लिए फिल्में बना सकते हैं, बहुत उससे जुड़ सकते हैं। ये 24 घंटे का टीवी चैनल है। उसके अलावा विज्ञान प्रसार की वेबसाइट पे आप देखेंगे, मैं इसलिए बताना चाह रहा हूँ आपको क्योंकि हमारा कोलैबोरेशन जरूरी है। आने वाले समय में आप लोग इतना अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, मीडिया के इतने बच्चे यहाँ से प्रोड्यूस होते हैं, तो वो लिखें हमारे लिए। तो हमारा एक और प्रोग्राम है, इसको बोलते हैं इंडिया साइंस वायर, ISW, इंडिया साइंस वायर भी आपको विज्ञान प्रसार की वेबसाइट पे आप करेंगे सर्च तो मिलेगा आपको। तो उसमें हम साइंस की न्यूज प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, साइंस की फीचर्स, स्टोरीज, तो आप उसमें भी कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट करना चाहें। उसके अलावा हमारा एक मंथली मैगजीन है, ड्रीम 2047। ड्रीम 2047 इज बाइलिंगुअल मैगजीन, उसमें आप कंट्रीब्यूशन दे सकते हैं। मैं अभी आऊंगा कि आपको क्या लिखना है और आपका परसेप्शन मैं कोशिश करूंगा चेंज हो जाए आज मुझे सुनने के बाद। जो हम साइंस की समझ रखते हैं और साइंस से कभी कभी हम डरते भी हैं, अपने मीडिया इंडस्ट्री में हम साइंस को दूर रखते हैं, तो उन सब पे मैं अभी बोलने वाला हूँ बहुत जल्दी, 1 मिनट में। तो ये रही विज्ञान प्रसार की बात, हम क्या करते हैं और कैसे हम आपको जोड़ सकते हैं। और हमारा पब्लिकेशन प्रोग्राम भी है, अगर आप साइंस बैकग्राउंड के नहीं भी हैं और अगर हैं भी, क्योंकि साइंस लिखने के लिए आपको कोई साइंस में PhD करने की या मास्टर करने की जरूरत नहीं है। बतौर पत्रकार, बतौर जर्नलिस्ट, बतौर मीडिया पर्सन, बतौर मास कम्युनिकेटर, यू कैन राइट ऑन वेरियस साइंटिफिक सब्जेक्ट, यू कैन प्रिपेयर योर इंटरव्यू बेस्ड बुक। आप वैज्ञानिकों के इंटरव्यू लीजिए, आप अपनी स्टोरीज डेवलप कीजिए, बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं जो हमें करने की जरूरत है। तो और उसके अलावा हम ये भी जोर दे रहे हैं यूनिवर्सिटीज में साइंस कम्युनिकेशन का एक कोर्स भी शुरू हो, इसमें हमारी लगातार बात चल रही है। और जामिया मिलिया इस्लामिया, जो MCRC आप जानते हैं, उसमें हमने अभी 2 साल पहले एक कोर्स भी शुरू किया था, एक चॉइस बेस्ड जो CBCS बोलते हैं आप, उसमें एक हमने करीब 6 महीने का वीकेंड क्लासेस का कोर्स भी शुरू किया था, जो साइंस कम्युनिकेशन के लिए था। उसको बहुत अप्रिशिएट किया गया और बहुत बच्चों ने न केवल फिल्में बनाई, लिखा, पढ़ा, बहुत सारी चीजें हुई। तो ये तो था कुछ जरूरी बातें विज्ञान प्रसार के बारे में जो मुझे बतानी थी। और अब मैं आऊंगा कि हम जो साइंस फिल्मों की बात कर रहे हैं, फिल्म फेस्टिवल आप भी कर रहे हैं स्पंदन के इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे, और हम लोग भी करते हैं। ये साइंस की फिल्मों की जरूरत क्या है? जरूरत इसलिए है कि हमें साइंस, जो हमारा साइंटिस्ट लैब में काम करता है, साइंस की जो रिसर्च पेपर्स में पब्लिश होती है, वो आम आदमी तक बहुत मुश्किल से पहुंच पाती है। अगर पहुंचती भी है तो हमारे अंग्रेजी के अखबारों के जरिए पहुंचती है, जिनका ऑडियंस, जिनका रीडर लिमिटेड है, क्योंकि टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया और हिंदू देश का मास नहीं पढ़ता, देश का क्लास पढ़ता है। तो हमें अपनी भाषा में हिंदी, बांग्ला, गुजराती, मराठी में साइंस को आगे बढ़ाना है अपने रीजनल न्यूज़पेपर्स के थ्रू, अपने रीजनल चैनल्स के थ्रू और प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू। तो इस पे हम बहुत काम कर रहे हैं भाषाओं में। वो इसलिए जरूरी है क्योंकि हमारा संविधान भी कहता है और ये हमारी जिम्मेदारी भी है। हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्या कहता है, बड़ी अच्छी बात है और हमें सबको पता होनी चाहिए। हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में एक फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज का चैप्टर है। उसमें फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज जो है आर्टिकल 51A कहलाता है। आर्टिकल 51A आप गूगल करेंगे और उसमें आप आगे ब्रैकेट में डालेंगे स्मॉल h, आर्टिकल 51AH इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग। आर्टिकल 51AH क्या कहता है? इट इज फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी ऑफ एवरी इंडियन सिटीजन टू इनकलकेट साइंटिफिक टेम्पर, ह्यूमनिज्म, स्पिरिट ऑफ इंक्वायरी एंड रिफॉर्म। हम साइंटिफिक टेम्पर यानी वैज्ञानिक सोच, वैज्ञानिक चेतना जगाएं अपने अंदर, सवाल जवाब पूछें, मानवतावाद को अपनाएं, चीजों को ऐसे एक्सेप्ट ना करें। अगर कोई हमसे बोलता है कि गणेश भगवान दूध पी रहे हैं तो हम उसको ऐसे एक्सेप्ट ना करें। हम दूध पिला के देखें, फिर हम साइंटिस्ट के पास जाके उसको टेस्ट करें कि सर ये गणेश जी आज दूध पी रहे हैं, कल क्यों नहीं इन्होंने पिया था? या कोई पत्थर को भी हम चम्मच से दूध लगाएंगे तो वो भी पी जाएगा क्या? तो उसमें क्या साइंस के फिनोमेना है, क्या प्रिंसिपल है, ये हम पता लगाएं। ये हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कहता है। अगर ये कोई व्यक्ति आपसे मिस कम्युनिकेशन करता है कि सूर्य ग्रहण के दिन अपने घर में दुबके रहो, सूर्य ग्रहण को अपने फिल्टर लगाकर सुरक्षित तरीके से भी देखना गुनाह है, तो वो आपको मिस कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है, मिस गाइड कर रहा है या मिस कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है। तो ऐसे लोगों की बातों में हमें नहीं आना है, हमें चीजों को जानना है। तो जो जानने की इच्छा है, जो अपने आप को क्यूरियस बनाती है हमें, राइट, वो अगर हम जगाएंगे तो हमारा साइंटिफिक टेम्पर भी अपने आप जगेगा। और जब हमारा साइंटिफिक टेम्पर अपने आप हम जगा पाएंगे तो हमसे मतलब हमारे लोग, हमारा मास, हम जो मास को कम्युनिकेट करते हैं अपने मास कम्युनिकेशन में थ्रू अवर मीडिया, थ्रू अवर पोर्टल्स, टीवी, प्रिंट, लिखना पढ़ना, तो अगर हम ये जगा पाएंगे तो लोगों का जो डिसीजन मेकिंग है अपनी लाइफ में कि उनको बच्चे को वैक्सीन देना है, क्यों जरूरत है, हमको मोबाइल को इस्तेमाल कितना करना है, इससे क्या खतरा हो सकता है, हमको एंटीबायोटिक की पूरी डोज क्यों खानी है, एक ही दवाई, एक ही एंटीबायोटिक एक दिन खा के क्यों छोड़ देनी है, हमको कैसे अपने आप को बचा के रखना है। बहुत सारी चीजें हैं। हेल्दी डाइट क्या है हमारे जीने के लिए? डायबिटीज के हम शिकार होते जा रहे हैं। अगर हम अपनी डाइट को रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर लें, अगर हम हेल्दी डाइट खाएंगे, तो मैं ऐसे कम से कम 50 लोगों को जानता हूं जिन्होंने जिनकी दवाइयां छूट गई और जो एकदम इंसुलिन भी जिनको असर नहीं हो रहा था, वो आज हेल्दी लाइफ जी रहे हैं ड्यू टू दिस साइंस कम्युनिकेशन, हेल्थ कम्युनिकेशन, इन्वायरमेंट कम्युनिकेशन। हम हर चौराहे पे देखते हैं कि हमारा चाय वाला पॉलिथीन में चाय गरम लौट देता है, उसको रबड़ बैंड से बांधता है, और हम अपने सिक्योरिटी गार्ड, हमारे ड्राइवर्स या कभी हम लोग भी वो गरम चाय और सब्जी लाके कप में लौट के खा लेते हैं। एक्चुअली में वो जहर होता है क्योंकि नैनो पार्टिकल्स उसमें घुल चुके होते हैं। आप जो बोतल बंद पानी पीते हैं, वो पानी ट्रकों में किलोमीटर का सफर तय करके आप तक पहुंचता है, और धूप की रोशनी में उस प्लास्टिक के जो नैनो पार्टिकल्स हैं, पॉलीमर्स, वो उस पानी को जहर बना चुके होते हैं। वही बात इस गर्म चाय और पॉलीथीन पे भी लागू होती है, जो एक जहर हम पी रहे होते हैं। वो नैनो में दिखाई भी पड़ती है जब जैसे जैसे हमारी एज बढ़ती जाती है। तो ये बहुत बड़ा खतरा है। तो बहुत सारी फिल्में हमारे पास आती हैं। अब राकेश से आप पूछेंगे जिन्होंने फिल्म बनाई, इसकी रिसर्च, इसकी थीम, इसका प्लॉट, इसका स्टोरी, इसकी स्क्रिप्ट, इसका है ना नरेशन, स्टोरी लाइन, एडिटिंग, डायरेक्शन, कैमरा, हर चीज आइडिया से शुरू होती है, पेन से शुरू होती है, फिर विजुअल की बात आती है। तो बहुत सारी चीजें आप राकेश जी से आज जानेंगे। तो एक तो ये बात कि हमें क्यों साइंटिफिक टेम्पर और साइंस को कम्युनिकेट करना है, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, हमको अपना परसेप्शन चेंज करना होगा साइंस के प्रति। साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, हेल्थ, एनवायरनमेंट की बात करते हैं, क्लाइमेट चेंज की बात करते हैं, तो हम केमिस्ट्री, फिजिक्स की बात नहीं कर रहे होते। हमारे अंदर जो परसेप्शन है, साइंस माने लैब, साइंस माने साइंटिस्ट, साइंस माने वो टेक्निकल रिसर्च पेपर जो किसी जर्नल में छपता है, या 12वें या बीएससी या एमएससी क्लास की साइंस की पढ़ाई, वो टेक्स्ट बुक नहीं, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है। साइंस का मायने है कि हम अपने लोगों को बता पाए कि भाई जाड़े में जब अपने घर के अंदर सोगे आप, तो अंगीठी जला के मत सो। अगर आपका घर बंद है, खिड़की दरवाजे बंद हैं और आपने अंगीठी जलाई, तो हमेशा एक खबर छपती है, आप याद करेंगे हर जाड़े के मौसम में, कि उस घर के लोग मरे पाए गए, मृत पाए गए। तो अगर हम अपने लोगों को अपनी फिल्मों में और अपने मीडिया में ये अलर्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, पराली से नुकसान के बारे में हम बताते हैं, लेकिन जो हमारे साइंटिस्ट काम कर रहे हैं उसकी खबर दिखा के हम रुक जाते हैं। हम ये क्यों नहीं पूछते अपने पॉलिसी मेकर्स से कि जो साइंटिस्ट ने पराली का कुछ उसकी एप्लीकेशन बनाई है कि पराली का कुछ बेनिफिट हो सकता है और वो जलाने की जरूरत नहीं है, तो क्यों नहीं वो मास लेवल तक पहुंचती? क्योंकि हमारा मास कम्युनिकेशन वहां पर पीछे हो जाता है। एक हम प्राइम टाइम में 30 मिनट की न्यूज, 30 सेकंड की न्यूज दिखा देंगे 1 मिनट की, फिर हम उसको भूल जाते हैं और हम फॉलो करते रहते हैं सपा बसपा और कांग्रेस और क्राइम और बॉलीवुड और सचिन तेंदुलकर का हैप्पी बर्थडे और ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला। क्यों नहीं हम ऐसी चीजों को जो हमारे सीधे डेवलपमेंट से जुड़ी हुई हैं, हमारे लाइफ से जुड़ी हुई हैं, उसमें भी टीआरपी आएगी, उसमें भी आपका 5 रुपए 3 रुपए देके अखबार पढ़ा जाएगा, खबरें बिकेंगी। आपको परसेप्शन को चेंज करना है। जो साइंस को हमने धारणा बना रखा है, केमिस्ट्री फिजिक्स, उससे हमें बाहर आना है। और आपको जो मैंने एग्जाम्पल दिए वो क्लाइमेट चेंज की हो, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग की हो, हमारे मेडिसिन की हो, आप कोविड में आप देखिए, आज तक में एंकर हैं श्वेता, उन्होंने प्राइम टाइम में लैंसेट जर्नल्स को कवर किया, उन्हें करना पड़ा क्योंकि उनको लोगों को बताना था कि वो लैंसेट जर्नल क्या रिसर्च कर रहा है कोविड की। तो अब हमें इस कोविड ने भी बहुत बड़ा सबक दे दिया है कि हम उस नैनो टेक्नोलॉजी को समझें, हम उस वैक्सीन की रिसर्च को समझें और अपने लोगों को समझाएं। और ये कैसे करना है, इसके लिए मैं चाहूंगा कि हम आगे आने वाले दिनों में भी वर्कशॉप्स करें। ये क्योंकि समय बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है मेरे पास जो मैं आपको बहुत डिटेल में बता पाऊं कि एक रिसर्च की रिपोर्टिंग कैसे करते हैं। बहुत आसान है, आप 2 घंटे में सीख सकते हैं कि रिसर्च पेपर को पढ़ के उसकी रिपोर्टिंग कैसे करेंगे, जो एक आम कम पढ़ा लिखा आदमी भी उसको समझ सकता है, क्योंकि आपको समझाने का अधिकार है और आपके व्यूअर को या रीडर को समझने का अधिकार है। तो समझने का अधिकार आप छीन नहीं सकते और समझाने का अधिकार आपके पास है, मेरे पास है। तो हम समझें और अपनी चीजों को समझाएं, तो ये बहुत जरूरी है, समझने समझाने का सिलसिला। तो परसेप्शन अपने साइंस का हमको चेंज करना है, ये पहली बात। दूसरी बात, कोविड की मैंने बात कर दी। चौथा मेरा पॉइंट है पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ आपका, जो हमारे बच्चे हैं, स्टूडेंट्स हैं, ये बहुत जरूरी है। डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज हम देखते हैं दुनिया में बहुत सारे फेस्टिवल्स होते हैं, यहाँ पे हम 11 साल से कर रहे हैं और हमें सफलता ये मिली है कि 11 साल 2011 में हमने शुरू किया था, 10 साल पहले। तो हमको मुश्किल से 30-40 फिल्में मिलती थी इंडिया से और विदेशों से भी कुछ आ जाती थी। आज की तारीख में हमारा जो अभी फेस्टिवल हुआ है 24 से 27 नवंबर ऑनलाइन हमने किया, ये अगरतला में होना था, त्रिपुरा में वो जो नहीं हो पाया ड्यू टू कोविड मार्च में। तो उसमें हमको 375 फिल्में मिली इंडिया से और दुनिया से भी तमाम 60-70 फिल्में आई। अभी हमारा एक इंटरनेशनल फेस्टिवल हमने अनाउंस किया है जो दिसंबर में होना है, 22, 23, 24, 25 दिसंबर। तो वो भी इंटरनेशनल फेस्टिवल में हमको 300-400 फिल्में और लगातार दुनिया से और आपसे कंट्रीब्यूशन हमें चाहिए। आप फिल्में बनाएं, आप अपना परसेप्शन को तोड़ें। और ये इतनी बड़ी फील्ड है, अगर आप डॉक्यूमेंट्री शॉर्ट फिल्म की बात करेंगे, बहुत बड़ा ये ना केवल बिजनेस है, बहुत आप प्रोडक्शन हाउस बना सकते हैं, बहुत कुछ काम कर सकते हैं, गवर्नमेंट मशीनरी के लिए काम कर सकते हैं और सेल्फ आप अपना क्रिएट कर सकते हैं, बहुत कुछ इसमें काम कर सकते हैं। तो आपकी हमें जरूरत है, आप हमें आइए और हम आपके साथ हैं हर समय। हर कोई भी किसी भी तरह की आपको जरूरत है, कोई रिसोर्सेज की जरूरत है, एक्सपर्टाइज की जरूरत है, कंटेंट की जरूरत है, वो हम सब आपको प्रोवाइड कराएंगे। और आखिर में 2-3 बातें मैं और कहूंगा। जब हम साइंस कम्युनिकेशन की बात करते हैं तो अब हमने जो कोविड की बात की, अब जो नैनो टेक्नोलॉजी की हम बात करते हैं कि जो कोविड जो हमारा कोरोना वायरस है, अब बड़ा कैसे हम उसको बड़ा मजे से समझ सकते हैं, जो हम एंजॉय करेंगे और हमारी समझ में वो ऐसा आ जाएगा कि फिर हम कभी भूलेंगे नहीं। आपको मैंने आज जितनी बातें बताई, वो चाहे अंगीठी जलाने की बात हो, वो चाहे गर्म चाय लौटने की बात हो, आप कभी भूलेंगे नहीं उस चीजों को और आप उस पर रिसर्च करेंगे और उस पर कुछ बना के दिखाएंगे। तो ऐसी बातें, और उसमें आप साइंस का सारा कंटेंट भी डालिए, लोगों को अवेयर कीजिए। तो कोविड का जो साइज है, हमने अखबारों में पढ़ा 80 to 120 नैनोमीटर, लेकिन हमने बहुत कम जगह पढ़ा होगा कि इसका जो साइज है ये नैनोमीटर होता क्या है। नैनोमीटर क्या होता है? 1 बिलियंथ ऑफ ए मीटर, 10 raised to the power -9। ये समझ सकते हैं कि 1 मीटर को एक मीटर का 1 अरबवां टुकड़ा, यानी 1 मीटर के 1 अरब टुकड़े करो, यानी आपका जो सिर का बाल है उसका जो मोटाई है उसका 1 बिलियंथ जो है वो 1 नैनोमीटर होगा। आप ये समझ सकते हैं कि अगर हम अपने मोबाइल को एक फुटबॉल के मैदान जितना बड़ा कर दें, अपने मोबाइल को फुटबॉल के मैदान जितना बड़ा कर दें, तो एक सॉरी माफ कीजिएगा, अगर हम अपने बाल को, हमारा जो बाल है ना, बाल की जो मोटाई है, सॉरी मैं दोबारा बता रहा हूं, बाल की मोटाई को हम फुटबॉल का मैदान जितना बड़ा कर दें, तो एक कोविड का आकार, एक कोरोना वायरस का आकार इस मोबाइल के बराबर होगा। और हम जब छींकते हैं तो हमारे जो एरोसोल निकलते हैं, कण निकलते हैं ना, थूक के कण, छींक के कण, तो हमारा जो सलाइवा वो होता है माइक्रोन में 10⁻⁻⁶, यानी 1 मीटर का 10 लाखवां भाग, 1 मिलियन में 10 लाख होता है, राइट। और उस एक हमारे कण में जो माइक्रोमीटर, कुछ माइक्रोमीटर लंबा होता होगा, उसमें ये कोविड छुपाया बैठा रहता है, जो नैनोमीटर के साइज का होता है। तो ये है माइक्रोमीटर और नैनोमीटर की दुनिया, जो बहुत ही मजेदार है। इसको समझना अपने आप में और समझाना, क्योंकि अपना कहा आप समझे तो क्या समझे, मजा कहने का तब है जब एक कहे दूसरा समझे। तो ये हमेशा आप ध्यान रखेंगे। और सबसे बड़ी चीज, साइंस के प्रोग्राम में हमारे पास दुनिया भर के फिल्म मेकर्स आते हैं। हम बहुत सारी साइंस के प्रोग्राम के लिए बजट देते हैं और लोगों से फिल्में प्रोड्यूस करवाते हैं। तो हमारे पास जो फिल्म मेकर्स आते हैं, उनमें जो दिक्कतें आती हैं, आपको मैं बता रहा हूँ, जो कभी आप में नहीं आएंगी, वो 5 Ws और 1 H, बहुत छोटा सा फॉर्मूला है जो आपको पत्रकारिता के बेसिक में पढ़ाया जाता है। 5W, अब 7W कह लें आप, 7W, व्हाट, व्हाई, वेयर, हाउ, टू whom, which and who, 7W and 1H। यहां पर 1H बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि आप कभी भी जब साइंस की कोई फिल्म बनाएंगे, 1H आपको बताना पड़ेगा। ये कोरोना कैसे फैलता है, ये गरम चाय पॉलिथीन में डालते हैं तो वो जहर कैसे बन जाती है। तो एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री मेकर ने बहुत हमने बजट दिया और वो लखनऊ गए। लखनऊ में एक टॉक्सिकोलॉजी रिसर्च सेंटर है जो विश्व विज्ञान पे अध्ययन करते हैं। उन्होंने एक फिल्म बनाई, ऑस्मोसिस। हमारा जो आरओ प्लांट होता है, आरओ उन्होंने बनाया है जो 2-4 हजार रुपए में मिल जाता है गरीब लोगों को। अब उन्होंने पूरी फिल्म बना के वो आ गए, लेकिन वो कहीं भी ये नहीं बता पाए कि ये आरओ का सिस्टम जो 1-2 हजार रुपए कीमत का है, ये कैसे काम करता है, हाउ। तो हमें हाउ बहुत जरूरी है, और व्हाट, व्हाई, वेयर, होम, हु, विच, ये सारी भी चीजें हमको समझानी होती हैं। अगर हमने ये समझा दी तो कोई भी कम पढ़ा लिखा आदमी हमारे साइंस को आराम से समझ सकता है। मैं इसलिए बोल रहा हूं क्योंकि हम जब भी साइंस को कम्युनिकेट करें थ्रू ऑडियो विजुअल मीडिया या रेडियो, क्लास 8 का बच्चा, नॉट मोर देन दैट, क्लास 8 के बच्चे को जितनी समझ होती है ना, उतनी समझ की साइंस हमको अपनी फिल्मों में डालनी है। हमें कोई रिसर्च पेपर नहीं डालना अपनी फिल्म में, राइट। ये ध्यान रखेंगे। और मैं आखिरी बात कहूंगा अपनी, और मैं समाप्त करूंगा, फिर राकेश जी से और लोग सवाल जवाब कर सकेंगे। 3 कल्चर को हमको समझना है। अगर हम जब साइंस को कम्युनिकेट करने की बात करते हैं, एक कल्चर है साइंस का कल्चर। साइंस का कल्चर मतलब साइंटिस्ट का कल्चर, साइंस की लैब का कल्चर, हॉस्पिटल, डॉक्टर्स, राइट, जहां जीएसएलवी पीएसएलवी बनाया जाता है और इसरो के साइंटिस्ट, वो कल्चर। दूसरा कल्चर है हमारा मीडिया का कल्चर, जहां पे हम रीडरशिप की बात करते हैं, टीआरपी की बात करते हैं, प्राइम टाइम की बात करते हैं, डेडलाइंस की बात करते हैं। हमारे पास समय कम है, राइट, हमारे पास स्पेस लिमिटेड है खबर छापने के लिए। वो हमें तुरंत 6 बजे खबर बनानी है। साइंटिस्ट को पेपर लिखने में 2 साल लगते हैं। वैक्सीन बन रही है ना, वैक्सीन एक दिन में नहीं बनेगी, समय लग रहा है। इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर हो गया, इमरजेंसी वैक्सीन बनाई जा रही है, तब इतनी जल्दी बन पा रही है, नहीं तो वैक्सीन बनने में भी लगते हैं 2-3 साल, 4 साल। तो अब ये कल्चर, साइंस का कल्चर हमको समझना है। दूसरा मीडिया का कल्चर, जहां हम बैठे हुए हैं, जो हमारी रोजी रोटी है, वो कल्चर हमको समझना है। और तीसरा कल्चर हमारे ऑडियंस का कल्चर, हमारा जो पाठक है, व्यूअर है, या हमारा लिसनर है, आम आदमी का कल्चर, उसे क्या चाहिए। तो साइंटिस्ट की लैब से चीजों को निकाल के आपको आम आदमी को देना है। एक ब्रिज आपका काम करते हैं जो हमारे देश में नहीं हो पा रहा है। ये बहुत ही दुर्भाग्य की बात है, क्योंकि साइंटिस्ट के पास समय नहीं है अपनी रिसर्च निकाल के कि वो कम्युनिकेट करे जनता में, क्योंकि हर आदमी डॉक्टर एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम या प्रोफेसर यशपाल जैसा साइंटिस्ट नहीं होता। ऐसे बहुत कम लोग हैं जो इस तरह का काम कर रहे हों। तो ऐसे साइंटिस्ट को हमको मोटिवेट करना है, हमें जाके चीजें निकालनी है और अपने लोगों को थ्रू आवर रिपोर्टिंग, इन्वेस्टिगेटिव जर्नलिज्म, शॉर्ट डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज, जो भी मीडिया आप जहां भी काम कर रहे हैं, और उसको हमको देना है। और साइंस का परसेप्शन जो मैं कह चुका हूं, मैं फिर रिपीट करके अपनी बात खत्म करूंगा कि साइंस का मायने केमिस्ट्री फिजिक्स नहीं होता। साइंस का मायने पोल्यूशन है, पराली है, पीने का पानी है, डिजीज है, हेल्थ है, हेल्दी डाइट है और बहुत कुछ है। जिस संसार में हम जीते हैं वो सब कुछ साइंस है। तो अखबार में, मीडिया में, टीवी में जो पंच तत्व हैं, बॉलीवुड, क्राइम, पॉलिटिक्स, इकोनॉमिक्स और एक दो चीजें और हैं जो हैप्पी बर्थडे एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, पेस्ट्री, उसके अलावा छठा तत्व आपको साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, डेवलपमेंट, एनवायरनमेंट शामिल करना पड़ेगा और इसको अपने एडिटर्स को समझाना पड़ेगा। क्योंकि आप जब अखबार में जाएंगे, टीवी में जाएंगे, तो वहां के एडिटर की उम्र होगी 60 साल की, 55 साल की, तो शायद उसका परसेप्शन जो है वो केमिस्ट्री फिजिक्स वाला हो। तो आपको उनको मोटिवेट करना पड़ेगा, सर मैं विज्ञान प्रसार से बातें सुन के आया हूं, मुझे आप साइंस की रिपोर्टिंग करने दो। थैंक यू। कोई सवाल हो, कोई जवाब, कोई उनको आपके सवालों के जवाब मैं देना चाहूंगा, कुछ आप अगर पूछना चाहें।
Thank you, sir. I think you have really motivated our students about science communication and for the field of science. And you have just explained how we in our day-to-day lives we forget that there is a science behind so many things around us. So thank you so much for putting light on these very important issues of our existence. And I'm sure the students will work on these areas, and we will definitely work with you, and we will contribute, the students will contribute the films and go ahead. So I think we can take it forward. Yeah,
Thank you so
Manya.
much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was Mr. Nimish Kapoor, a versatile personality, a science communicator, a scientist, former television programmer working in Vigyan Prasar, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India from last 16 years. At present, as Scientist E, he is heading the Science Film Division, Publications Division, and India Science Wire, Vigyan Samachar Science News and Feature Service. He is a certified Google News Initiative trainer on a fact verification. He is associated with the planning and execution of National International Science Film Festival of India, flagship events of Vigyan Prasad, conducted a series of national workshops on science filmmaking and promote the culture of science film and science film festival in the country. He's a member of decision-making bodies of Public Health Film Society, UK, UNICEF, Doordarshan, CIET, NCRT, CEMCA, MHRD, CHT, CMS Vatavaran, NCSM, etc. Guest faculty of sorry, science communication with various universities, recipients of numerous awards on science communication. So we are really grateful to have you, sir. And sir, Vigyan Prasad and you played a very important role in my life to become a filmmaker. I'm an aspiring filmmaker. I was in 10th standard when I submitted my first movie in sixth National Science Film Festival. So thank you so much, sir. I was searching for the selfie we had with you, but I wasn't able to. And now I would like to call Manya to proceed with the session.
Thank you, Naman. Next up, Mr. Rakesh Rao, we watched your amazing film that you created, and we'd like you to share your filmmaking experience and the process that you go through.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Nimish, sir, first of all, for pretty inspiring talk. And that's how a science film should be made, in fact. Even my journey has been pretty interesting, I would rather say. Regular science background, did my master's in physics and wanted to do my PhD program, but thanks to recession in the US and all the fun cut and things didn't work out. But photography and filmmaking was something that I was always passionate about since young. And more than just clicking photographs, I mean, today with technology, what has happened is that before, when I started, we used to have this regular, film cameras. I'm not so sure even if today's kids have even seen what a roll wala camera hota hai, where we had to click. We used to get only 36 exposures. We had to think so much before clicking. And then you're not sure even whether you have got a photograph or not, unless and until you finish the entire roll and go back and develop it. And it used to cost a lot. So we had to do a lot of savings and a lot of, saving from lunch money and go and develop it and things of that sort. But that was the fun part about it. We were so decisive about even taking photographs. But today with the digital age, I can click like 100 photographs, tuck, 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 and then not even bother about see the best one of it. And in fact, the artificial intelligence has become so much today that it actually selects the best photo for you. It starts even recommending the best photograph that you might have clicked. And the storage save and things of that sort has increased so much that we don't even care much now about it. But what I'm trying to say here is that whenever you click, we have this tendency of clicking photographs, but not documenting things. It's quite important that we start documenting a day-to-day life. It's not the selfies that I'm talking about that everybody loves to take photographs and put it up on Insta or something like that. But regular things, whether it's climate issues, whether it's now, as Sir was talking about, coronavirus issues, what has been happening around, we have stopped documenting and telling proper storytelling. And that actually led me to get into the art of science filmmaking, and which during my time, I found that there were only very few filmmakers in India who talked about science films. That's still a very niche. But thanks to Vigyan Prasad and events like all the film festivals, and I got good to know about the film festival that you all are doing, probably more and more filmmakers will come into it and probably start documenting science part about it. So that's how I started. And the expeditions were something that I always wanted to go to a place like Antarctica and things of that sort. I always keep telling this to people. I mean, the first best thing to do is to go to space, and the second best thing to do is to go to Antarctica. And I was pretty fortunate to get almost 4 opportunities of doing it and documenting the research part of it. And it's only when you go to these places you understand that climate change is very real, and we all are going to be affected with it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful session, for the great movie. Thank you, Nimish sir, for being here with us. Shantanu, I request you to play the PSM so that we can move on to the next session.
Manya, if there are any questions, you can ask if the audience has any questions.
Yeah, if any of the attendees or the panelists have any questions, they can leave it in the Q&A box. And if we have a time crunch, we surely will get back to you with them.
Achoo!
Thank you, Shantanu. For our next session, we have Dr. Manikant Thakur with us. He's a mass communication strategist and a very familiar name in broadcast journalism. He made his film debut in making almost 3.5 decades. He made his film debut uh, uh, in making almost 3.5 decades ago with his first documentary, Mural Paintings of Singbam. He has produced over 6,000 documentaries in various formats over the period. His docu-series Andi Galiyan was one of the most popular shows during that time, as Delhi was facing a serious problem of drug abuse, particularly the youth. And when I talk about the time, it is 1985 to 1988. Sir will be talking about the films based on people and places and their importance. With his experience and the work that he's going to share, it will definitely be a very engaging and knowledgeable session. I'd like to invite Professor Siddharth Mishra to share a few words on Cinephile and welcome the next guest on the panel. Before that, I'd like to share a brief. Professor Siddharth Mishra is a print media journalist, TV panelist, and the author with more than 25 years of experience, with his major interest in democratic functioning at grassroots. He has covered every general election since 1996 and been a legislative parliamentary reporter for long years. In course of his reporting duties, he has traveled to Gulf, Africa, Afghanistan, Taiwan, and Ireland. Presently, he is a professor chairperson media at Media Studies, Vivekananda Institute of Professional Studies at New Delhi. Sir, I'd like to invite you so that you can welcome our guest and share a brief about him.
I guess sir is not here.
Okay. Miss Professor Charulata Singh, we'd like.
Just a second, मान्या सर है यहाँ पे.
Okay, sir.
सिद्धार्थ सर है, एक बार दोबारा वो लाइन आप रिपीट कर दीजिएगा.
Okay, sir.
Sir is here.
Professor Siddharth Mishra is a print media journalist, TV panelist, and author with more than 25 years of experience with his major interest in democratic functioning at grassroots. He has covered every general election since 1996 and been a legislative parliamentary reporter for long years. In course of his reporting duties, he's traveled to the Gulf, Africa, Afghanistan, Taiwan, and Ireland. Presently, he is a professor chairperson media studies at Vivekananda Institute of Professional Studies. Good morning, sir. I'd like to invite you to share a few words on Cinephile and welcome the next guest on the panel, Dr. Manikant Thakur.
Manya, sir has just texted that he's unable to join. His speakers are not working. So he's saying just go ahead. He'll join later.
Okay, I welcome Manikant sir for this session on Cinephile. Sir has been, associated with WIPS for a long time. So it is a pleasure to have him here in WIPS. So this time, sir, we could not have you, physically in WIPS, but we are joining virtually with you. So we really welcome you, and I, on behalf of WIPS family, all the students, students, faculty, and Siddharth sir, I welcome you to this Cinephile and for this session. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Charulata, for your kind words. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Your words are really kind and encouraging, inspiring. Thank you very much for inviting me, particularly you and Professor Siddharth Mishra. He has been very inspiring to me. In fact, like an icon for me. I've been following his footsteps in journalism. He's been a great teacher, and your institution particularly, it's a great institution. My gratitude to Dr. Watts. Please convey my gratitude to him also. It's really a great occasion to address the students, in fact, the budding journalists of such a great institution. What I have been asked to deliberate upon is a documentary and how I have been treating it. In fact, I don't want to be that much of academic. I just want to be something very entertaining in the way that I would like to give you some examples and then follow our discussions. First of all, talking about the documentary, I will come with a little bit of a presentation. I'm just sharing my screen. Hope you can see it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You see, this documentary, the very word documentary has come from the word documentary. You all know, you have already read it. The thing is documentary something very unfamiliar to us? No, not at all. We are documenting ourselves on everyday basis. Even now, we are documenting ourselves. It's a very natural way of life. As the life proceeds, so does the documentary. Documentary, when recorded in a camera, is visible to others. Otherwise, our day-to-day activity are just a part of the documentary, because documentary is nothing but the depiction of our reality, which is happening somewhere, or which had happened somewhere in a particular period, or will be, or is to take a shape in the near future. So it's been a part of life. Factually speaking, even today or every day, every morning, when you take a selfie from your mobile phone, you are documenting yourself visually. Once you make a collage of it, look at the different faces you had over a different period of time, and you will realize how you have fared. So this is life, and this is documentary. Documentary is nothing different from life. Documentary is something which comes out from your heart and soul. It's the ultimate truth. It has different forms and formats. Academicians may give it different names, but the genre remains that of your intellect, your heart, your emotions, and a real connect to the people. You know, academically, let me share a few words and then I will move over to the genre itself. Now, what is a documentary? It's just a narrative based on recreating an actual event, era, life story, etc. No, it purports to factually accurate and contains no fictional elements, like a documentary on life of Gandhi, maybe on life of Ambedkar. I will be showing you certain films also. In course of my discussions, we will be showing you some films which I really want to show you, so that you can understand what a documentary should really be, and how can you think about making a documentary. My focus is on to make you understand the elements of documentary by showing you some examples, rather than in the making of documentary. Now, the best exponent in the field of documentary, documentary is not a very old thing. It happened, began in the second decade of 1900, so almost 100-year-old, just 100-year-old, nothing more. It's not a very old genre, but very effective. So Bill Nichols has been one of the exponents who have talked about what documentary is and what it should be like. He has tried to make a frame for itself that how it should be looked into. Now, the definition of document is very elaborate. The types are intermingling. If I said this is a particular set of documentary and this is another set of documentary, that will be for academic purpose, but not for practical purpose. Why? Because the changes come from institutions that support production or reception. You know, we can never be true. Truth is never 100%. Objectivity is never 100%. So even the reality in a documentary becomes subjective to the perception of the person who's making that documentary or who is making that film. Or it may get influenced by the institution for whom that documentary is being made. It may be selective, so dangers are always there. But largely, it speaks about situations and events involving real people who are the social actors, who present themselves to us as themselves in stories that convey a plausible proposal about the perspectives of the life, situation, and events portrayed. Would like to show you certain thing. I'm going for a new share, and from there I will just try to show you a film. You look at the film.
लेकिन म्यूट क्यों हो गया? नहीं ये नहीं बॉस, उधर से आवाज कहाँ आ रही है? हमारा स्पीकर काम नहीं कर रहा ना। ओके, वो तो मुझे पता है, वो तो
I think the signals are not that strong.
मान्या आपके पास हो तो आप प्ले कर दीजिए अपने एंड से।
हाँ प्ले कर आ गया। I think can you see it now?
Sir, since you are not on your screen right now, so we are not able to see that. Instead, you can share the whole screen of your system. Right now, you're just sharing the PPT.
Yes. No. I'm going for the new share. Can you see the screen now?
So you have to start your reshare again and put it on screen. Right now, you're just sharing the PPT.
नमन आपके पास अगर सर की पीपीटी तो आप लिंक प्ले कर दीजिए।
ऐसा है, I have gone for a new share.
Yes, sir. You are not on your screen. Sir, what you can do is you can paste the.
I am not on my screen. Can you see another screen?
No, sir.
You can't see. Okay, I will go back again.
Sir, instead you can just you can paste the link in the chat box, and one of us will play this.
Okay.
Yes, sir. In the chat box, we will play it, sir.
Okay, but just let me check because actually I had done it earlier and it worked. So
definitely, sir. Definitely, sir.
So can you see it? Can you see it now?
No, sir. You are still on the PPT share screen.
Okay.
So now it's visible, sir. Now it is visible.
Now it's visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And also, sir, make sure that you have shared your computer sound because it's not audible right now. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Can you see it now?
Sir, it is visible, but it is not audible right now.
But I'm getting the audio.
So for that, you have to go to that share computer bar and then click on the option share computer sound.
Yeah, already I am having that anyway. Yes. Okay.
को भाषा को समझने
Can you hear me now?
इसमें निहित प्यार और पीड़ा को समझने की और समझकर व्यक्त करने की। देश की गौरवशाली परंपरा के प्रतीक नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय कौन कहता है पत्थर बोलते नहीं, सिर्फ सुनते हैं? सच्चाई तो यह है कि पत्थर केवल सुनते ही नहीं बल्कि बोलते भी हैं। आक्रांताओं के अत्याचारों की करुण कहानी, प्रियजनों के प्रेम की स्मृतियाँ, वो जो उन्होंने सहा और वो जो उन्होंने कहा। ये पाषाण अवश्य हैं, किंतु पाषाण हृदय नहीं। आवश्यकता है तो बस इस मूक भाषा को समझने की, इसमें निहित प्यार और पीड़ा को समझने की और समझकर व्यक्त करने की। देश की गौरवशाली परंपरा के प्रतीक नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय के खंडहर आज भी समस्त विश्व को शांति, ज्ञान और विश्व बंधुत्व का संदेश देते हैं।
बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि।
नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय प्राचीन भारत में उच्च शिक्षा का सर्वाधिक महत्वपूर्ण और विख्यात केंद्र था। इसके ज्ञान के प्रकाश से पूरी दुनिया में उजाला था। नालंदा के ये अवशेष आज भी प्राचीन भारत के गौरवपूर्ण इतिहास की गवाही देते हैं। इन्हें देखने दुनिया भर के लोग यहाँ आज भी आते हैं। शिक्षा का ये मंदिर आज यूनेस्को की विश्व विरासत सूची में है। जब नालंदा अपने शिखर पर था, तब देश विदेश के लगभग 10,000 से अधिक विद्यार्थी यहाँ आकर अध्ययन करते थे। इन्हें 1,500 से अधिक अध्यापक पढ़ाते थे। यहाँ पढ़ने वाले छात्र न केवल बौद्ध धर्म की शिक्षा ग्रहण करते थे, बल्कि उनकी शिक्षा में अन्य संस्कृतियों और धार्मिक मान्यताओं का भी समावेश होता था। नालंदा की स्थापना बौद्ध सन्यासियों ने की थी। इसका मूल उद्देश्य एक ऐसे केंद्र का निर्माण करना था जो ध्यान और अध्यात्म के लिए उपयुक्त हो। महात्मा बुद्ध ने अपने जीवन काल में कई बार नालंदा की यात्रा की थी। यही कारण था कि इसे 5वीं शताब्दी से लेकर 12वीं शताब्दी तक बौद्ध शिक्षा के केंद्र के रूप में देखा जाता था। यह जगह पटना से 95 किलोमीटर दूर है। नालंदा 7वीं शताब्दी से लेकर 12वीं ईस्वी तक अध्ययन का मुख्य केंद्र था। वैदिक प्रक्रिया को अपनाकर प्राचीन समय में बहुत सी शिक्षण संस्थाओं की स्थापना की गई थी। इनमें तक्षशिला, नालंदा और विक्रमशिला को भारत के प्राचीनतम विश्वविद्यालयों में गिना जाता है। ऐतिहासिक प्रमाणों के अनुसार इस विश्व प्रसिद्ध विश्वविद्यालय की स्थापना गुप्त वंश के पराक्रमी सम्राट कुमार गुप्त प्रथम ने लगभग 450 ईस्वी में की थी। गुप्त काल भारतीय इतिहास का स्वर्ण काल था। यहाँ कला, साहित्य, धर्म के क्षेत्र में उल्लेखनीय प्रगति हुई।
बड़गांव के बगल में जो बहुत ऊंचे टीलों का समूह दिखाई दिया, उस टीले के सरफेस पर, उसके सतह पर पड़े हुए प्राचीन पुरातत्व अवशेष देखने को मिले, जैसे ईंटों की दीवारें, कुछ पॉटशर्ट्स, कुछ आर्टिफैक्ट्स उन लोगों को दिखाई दिया। इसके बाद कनिंघम महोदय ने इस स्थल का विधिवत तकनीकी ढंग से उत्खनन का कार्य प्रारंभ किया और इस उत्खनन के परिणाम स्वरूप हम लोगों को नालंदा आज सामने देखने को मिल रहा है।
चीनी यात्री वेनसांग सहित कई यात्रियों और लेखकों ने सम्राट कुमार गुप्त को इस विश्वविद्यालय का संस्थापक बताया है। वेनसांग ने 7वीं शताब्दी में यहाँ अपने जीवन का महत्वपूर्ण समय पहले एक विद्यार्थी के रूप में और बाद में एक शिक्षक के रूप में व्यतीत किया। उसके कई लेखों में यहाँ की अध्ययन और शिक्षण प्रणाली और मठवासी जीवन की पवित्रता का उत्कर्ष वर्णन मिलता है। नालंदा में मिली मुद्राओं से भी इस बात की पुष्टि होती है। उसने लिखा है कि नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय में 8,500 छात्र और 1,510 अध्यापक थे। इसके अध्यापकों में शीलभद्र, धर्मपाल, चंद्रपाल, गुणमती, प्रभामित्र, जिनमित्र, ज्ञानचंद्र, नागार्जुन, धर्मकीरति आदि प्रमुख थे। इस विश्वविद्यालय में आचार्य छात्रों को मौखिक व्याख्यान के माध्यम से शिक्षा देते थे। पुस्तकों की व्याख्या
Now, I think I'm going back to my PPT. Can you hear me now?
Sir, you are audible, but you have paused your sharing.
Yes, I have paused my sharing. This is just one part that I wanted to show you. I have something else to share also.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So that was one form of documentary that you saw in Nalanda. Okay. I'm showing you some another format of documentary that has been done by us. Can you see it?
एक्सप्रेस प्लेटफॉर्म क्रमांक 5 पर आ चुकी है. May I have your attention please? 5634 Tiruvananthapuram, Lokmanya Tilak Terminus.
Can you see it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
और चलते चलते देखिए मेरा यह अद्भुत सफर मुझे ले आया है उस शहर में ना किसी की चाची, मामी, ताऊ, मासी कोई ना कोई तो जरूर रहता है. नहीं सुना आपने? कानपुर वाले चाचा, कानपुर वाली मामी, कानपुर वाली मासी. मैं बात कर रहा हूँ कानपुर सेंट्रल की. अब इस शहर को लेकर कई सारी धारणाएं हैं, लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली उनमें से एक धारणा लगभग सच है. औद्योगिक शहर होने की वजह से ये काफ़ी प्रदूषित शहर है. लेकिन प्रदूषित होने के बावजूद क्यों है कानपुर इतना लोकप्रिय, और क्या है कानपुरियाओं का जीने का ढंग, और क्या है उनका स्वाद? चलिए पता करते हैं. कानपुर में मैं लड्डू के स्वाद से जाऊंगा ठग. आउटस्टैंडिंग. जानूंगा एशिया का सबसे जहरीला नाला कैसे किया गया साफ. देखूंगा ब्रिटिश आर्किटेक्चर के शानदार चर्चेस. होंगे दर्शन बिठूर गंगा के, जहां माना जाता है मां सीता ने लव कुश को जन्म दिया. कन्नौज से कानपुर की दूरी लगभग 80 किलोमीटर है, यानी अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 80 किलोमीटर. गंगा नदी के पश्चिमी घाट पर बसा शहर कानपुर, मैनचेस्टर ऑफ इंडिया या द लेदर सिटी ऑफ द वर्ल्ड के नाम से भी विख्यात. जीवन में ऐसी कम ही जगह देखने को मिलती हैं जिनके नाम के बारे में भी बहुत सारी कहानियां हों. कानपुर शहर का नाम 11 बार बदला गया है. किसी जमाने में अंग्रेजों के यहां बहुत से बैरक्स हुआ करते थे, और सुना जाता है कि 7,000 से ज्यादा अंग्रेजी ऑफिसर्स यहां रहते थे. आप जब इस लेदर के शहर को देखने निकलेंगे, या यूं कहूं कि इस चमड़े के शहर को देखने निकलेंगे, तो बहुत सारे अंग्रेजी हुकूमत के निशान आपको यहां देखने को मिलेंगे. उनकी बात हम बाद में करेंगे. फिलहाल चलते हैं देखने इस इंडस्ट्रियल टाउन को. ऐसा कोई सगा नहीं जिसको हमने ठगा नहीं. ना 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 ना, ये मेरी पंक्तियां नहीं है. ये तो वो कहते हैं जो सरेआम खुलेआम मिठास बेचते हैं. तो अब आप सोच रहे होंगे कि कानपुर में ये मेरे साथ में कौन है. अब ये एक बहुत ही सबसे पहले तो
No. Can
Yes, so we can see the PPT now.
okay. Now I'm going to show you another format. Okay. You see the floor will be open after I finish my screening and all. It's open even now. If you want to ask, you can ask always. But let me finish something, some perspectives, some formats of the documentary. If you have a pen and paper as well, if not, even then record it in your mind. So you can ask me. what is the format and why did I treat it like that. So I will be showing you. Can you see it?
हम भारत के लोग
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can see it.
Okay.
भारत को एक संपूर्ण प्रभुत्व संपन्न समाजवादी, पंथ निरपेक्ष, लोकतंत्रात्मक गणराज्य बनाने के लिए तथा उसके समस्त नागरिकों को सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनीतिक न्याय, विचार, अभिव्यक्ति, विश्वास, धर्म और उपासना की स्वतंत्रता, प्रतिष्ठा और अवसर की समता प्राप्त करने के लिए तथा उन सब में व्यक्ति की गरिमा और राष्ट्र की एकता और अखंडता सुनिश्चित करने वाली बंधुता बढ़ाने के लिए दृढ़ संकल्प होकर अपनी संविधान सभा में आज तारीख 26 नवंबर 1949 ईस्वी मिति माघ शीर्ष शुक्ल सप्तमी संवत 2006 विक्रमी को एतद् द्वारा इस संविधान को अंगीकृत, अधिनियमित और आत्मार्पित करते हैं। यह है हमारे संविधान की प्रस्तावना, जिसे दुनिया भर में सर्वश्रेष्ठ माना जाता है। दरअसल संविधान जिन आदर्शों और आकांक्षाओं का प्रतीक है, इसका निर्धारण भी प्रस्तावना से हो जाता है और दुनिया का बेहतरीन संविधान तैयार करने के संविधान सभा के श्रेय का बड़ा हिस्सा जाता है एक मसीहा को, बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर। युगों युगों में कभी एक ऐसा मसीहा पैदा होता है जिसकी बातों और विचारों का देश और समाज पर बड़ा असर पड़ता है। उनके विचार युगों को बदल जाते हैं।
अम्बेडकर को जब हम लोग देखते हैं तो उनके जीवन के इतने ज़्यादा शेड्स हैं, इतने चरित्र के इतने चेहरे हैं कि आप समग्र अम्बेडकर को अगर आप देखें तो राष्ट्र नायक अम्बेडकर या राष्ट्र निर्माता अम्बेडकर के अलावा उनके लिए और कोई एक इमेज उन पर फिट नहीं बैठती है। आप उनको देखिए, संविधान निर्माता हैं, वो महिलाओं के आज़ादी के वो पक्षधर हैं, हिंदू कोड बिल लाते हैं, उनके इकोनॉमिक्स की उनकी थ्योरी पर इस देश में रिजर्व बैंक की स्थापना होती है, उनकी कल्पनाओं के आधार पर पहली बार एक रिवर वैली प्रोजेक्ट बनता है जो दामोदर रिवर वैली प्रोजेक्ट होता है, जहाँ पर नदी के पानी से बिजली बनाना और सिंचाई दोनों काम होता है। तो सैकड़ों सेट्स हैं एक व्यक्ति के जीवन में।
बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर ऐसे
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you see the PPT?
No, sir.
No, sir, you are still on the YouTube.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. Now, these were the different formats in which any documentary could be made. I can show you something I have chosen for you, just to have a look at the beautiful things that other producers are making. These were the DD documentaries, but I want to show you something very, very short documentaries which will really inspire you. You have, you look at this format of a documentary. You must have seen it, I'm very sure. But can you see it?
Yes, sir.
There is that moment when the barrier comes down on Station Road. When the train to Hoth has passed and nothing happens. When the men in lycra vests and shorts on their blade-thin wheels look round and through each other. When the yummy mums with their dozy, school-bound offspring by their sides are trussed up in the seats behind like dolls, glance down one more time to check the time. When the very birds on that ever-slack tangle of cables, 2 steps left or 1 step right. When the sea retreats and only sunlight advances along the track. When something in the chest unlocks or shifts and you find you're no longer waiting. When the barrier lifts.
When the barrier lifts, 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 when the barrier
Okay, 1 second. I think I'm connected to you.
Yes, sir.
Wait, can you see the PPT now? No.
Yes, sir. We can see it. Yes, sir. The PPT is visible.
Okay. No, I will be showing you something more, very short one. Very short one.
मान्या सिद्धार्थ सर एटीडीज में हैं।
So we have added Siddharth sir in the panel.
Okay. But I think I will have to gain the controls once again.
So the PPT is not visible, sir.
Yeah, I'm returning to meeting. Something went wrong.
Sure, sir.
Can you see me now?
Sir, you are visible, but your screen
Can you see
sharing
the
is
PPT now?
on. No, sir, no, sir. There is a black box.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now
it's
is it
visible
visible?
now.
Okay, thank you. And good morning, Siddharth sir. Okay, no, I just wanted to show you something. Can you see something? No. I don't know, the hyperlink is not working probably. Let me try another one.
I have this question for you. What do you mean by learning public speaking skills?
Something else.
Does this mean that we have to learn body language and vocal variety so we can deliver a content? Or it means we have to organize our content in such a way.
Popping up. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We can see the screen.
No, it's something. I think the hyperlink is not working. Hyperlink is, let me to try. Maybe the signals are very weak. Can you see this one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
மிருதங்கன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னாக்கா பலாமரம் தான் செய்கிறது. இசைக்கு ஏற்றது பலாமரம் தான். உட்டு மிருதங்கம், தவில், தபிலா, கஞ்சிரா, உரிம்பே, உடுக்கி, இன்னும் பல இசைக்கருவியெல்லாம் பலாமரத்தில் தான் நாங்கள் ரெடி பண்ணுறோம். இங்கே பண்ருட்டியை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் பலாமரத்துக்கு தான் பெஸ்ட்டு. மிருதங்கத்துக்கு நம்ம கடலூர் மாவட்டத்திலே பண்ருட்டியில் இங்கே லோக்கலில் இருக்கிற பலாமரத்துக்கு மட்டும்தான் அந்த இசைக்கு ஏற்ற தன்மை உள்ளது. பொதுவாக மிருதங்கம் செய்யணுன்னாலே கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு 40 வருஷத்துக்கு மேலே உள்ள வயசு மரத்தில் தான் அதை செய்யலாம். வேறு வயசு கம்மி மரத்தில் செஞ்சால் அந்த இசைக்கு தன்மை வராது. மிருதங்கம் ஏன் பலா மரத்தில் மட்டும் செய்கிறாங்கன்னு கேட்கலாம். மற்ற மரத்தில் செய்யக்கூடாதா அப்படின்றது கேள்வி கூட கேட்கலாம் நீங்கள். ஆனால் பலா மரத்தில் செஞ்சால் தான் அந்த சுதி மட்டும் கரெக்டாக 100% கிடைக்கும். இதில் மற்ற மரத்தில் செஞ்சால் பாதி கூட கிடைக்காது. இதுவே வந்து பலா மரத்தில் பழைய கட்டிட தூண்டுன்றதில் ரெடி பண்ணால் இதை விட இன்னும் ஜாஸ்தி நல்லா மியூசிக்கல் நல்லா வரும். அதனால் வந்து பலா மரத்தில் மட்டும்தான் இது வந்து தேவைக்கு தகுந்த மியூசிக் அவங்களுக்கு 100% கிடைக்கிற தன்மை உள்ளது. மற்ற மரத்தில் போட்டால் அந்த தன்மை வராது. இது வந்து 3 தலைமுறைன்றது கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு 100 வருஷத்தை தாண்டி கூட இருக்குது.
ஸ்தாயி மிருதங்கம் இதுக்கு பேர். அப்புறம் இது வந்து 23 இன்ச்சு சைஸ் மிருதங்கம். இது வந்து 7.5 வாயில் வரும். இது வந்து 6.5 வாயால் வரும். இதுக்கு பேர் வந்து எடபாரி, இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட்டுக்கு வாசிக்கிறது. இது வந்து 24 இன்ச்சு மிருதங்கம். இது வந்து 6.
Okay. No. Can you see my PPT?
No, sir, not yet.
Not yet. Now, can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, just like this, I'm going to show you something. I'm sure you would like it. Hope my signals work. And be very careful while watching. This is very short film. And you can ask me about the format later on. Save your questions for me once I finish this. Hope the hyperlink works. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes.
So the video is not playing, sir.
Visual is not clear.
No, sir, it's not playing, sir. It's stuck on a screen. The loading bar.
Just one sec. Okay. Okay, I will hold it. Can you see the frame?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm just starting again. I hope you can see it now.
Yes, sir.
In my life, early life, I was living in the suburbs and all that sort of thing, and I never had a garden. I never had time for it. I swore then that if I ever got the opportunity, I'd like a big garden and one that I could put a water feature in grow the trees, the great trees that I got to love. Right from the very beginning, I decided that you can't have dreams of a beautiful garden if you don't have water. On my 18th birthday, the 29th of October 1942, I'd made up my mind that I was going to avenge my father's treatment by joining to fight the Boche. It was jingoistic, I know, to think about it, but that's what we were thinking of. So I became an officer of the Royal Australian Air Force at 18 and went overseas to Europe, where things were certainly different. In circumstances where things went wrong very quickly, if the aircraft disintegrated for some reason, very seldom did any of the crew survive. Well, the most unfortunate thing happened in our case. Coming back from Dortmund, my rear gunner, in his last words to me, he screamed out, "Jet, jet, skipper, dive." They were his last words. In a fraction of a second, the 6 guys were out in the falling. At 20,000 feet, it takes almost 3 minutes to free fall to the earth. If you ever experience 3 minutes silence, you know how long that is. It was a snowy night on the ground, and a bit of light was coming through. I came to, and surprisingly the steel seat, it and I had parted company. The chute was hanging off me, and I could feel it burning in the back from the explosion. You look down and I could see this bloody church down against the snow. It was midnight. I look at it. You'd never forget it. And I thought, cripes, if I don't do something, I'm going to land on that point. Rather than that, I had a go at opening the chute, and surprisingly it worked. About 1,000 feet or so, because I was so close to the ground, and came down in this bloody churchyard. Peach tree or something was there, it broke the fall. The leaves on the tupelo, as they turn, they go almost full, deep red. And then, of course, the liquid ambers, they're pretty good, and the pin oaks. If I wanted to set out a way that a person should depart this planet, why not depart from a place like this? I'd be happy. I'd be happy to be here.
So I'm back to my PPT. Can you see it now?
No, sir, the PPT is not visible.
Not now?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. You see, I didn't want to tell you something very verbose kind of thing, that these are the things that should happen in a documentary. But I just showed you something. I showed you things which are in the different formats, some produced by us, some produced by some private producers or some foreign producers, because they tell you the grammar. Only bragging about one's work doesn't help. We said we must see rather what other people have been doing, how beautifully they have painted the entire picture on the canvas in such a color that you can see it, you can feel it, you can share it, you can live a life out of it. So to me, it's not just a poetic documentary or a narration or some just a camera work. It's a sum total of life. You know, we can have different viewpoints or something like that, but you should, you know, instead of working on the viewpoints, you know, we have the expository kind of, whatever the formats I've showed you, the observational, the participatory, the reflexive, the poetic, the performative, you know, the performative, and you can go by definition and you see. You have seen this day in life just now. There is no voiceover. There is not too much local involved. There are nothing much. But even then, the story is being told in a way which is really very emphatic. Now, am I visible to you all?
No,
Sir,
sir,
there is a grey box in
There
the
is a
middle
grey
of the
box.
screen.
No.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Now, am I visible?
no, sir. The screen is still sharing.
No.
No,
The
sir.
screen is still saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you have
Am I
to
visible
go
now?
to that. Yes, sir. You can just uh, close that meeting controls. As soon as you close that meeting controls, you're back to the screen.
Okay. So should I say stop sharing?
Yes, sir. Stop sharing.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
No, I think I am back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I think I've shown you a lot of things. I don't know whether you liked it or not, and you may be trying to ask something. The floor is always open. If you want to ask me something about the form, the content, and how it was done, I will be happy to share it with you.
Yes, sir. It was all of the films were very insightful. The documentary, the entire process that you talked about. If anyone has any questions, you can leave them in the Q&A box. And I'd like to invite Professor Siddharth Mishra to share a few words on Cinephile and conclude the session with our guest.
Thank you, and I'm so sorry I was able to beat the what you call blockade at UP gate and reach here in time, but the you see the unreliability of technology at times lets you down. So anyways, so thank you Manikanji for having made to the what you call session and for having engaged us so fruitfully with the genres of documentary. I want to tell the students that documentary is not a 20th or 21st century phenomena. Documentary as part of film may be part of 20th or 21st century phenomena when the film started happening. Documentary comes from the word documentation. And if you look into what you call as far as you can go back into the history, documentation has always been done. And when we talk of documentary evidence, when we study history, so documentary evidence, we refer to the documents which are available. But what is added in 20th and 21st century is the documentaries as in films, as in through the medium of film, through the medium of cinema. So, and in India, as far as documentary making goes, I think there has not been a more better platform than organization than the Doordarshan, which has worked on this Doordarshan, and in fact all the government bodies before Doordarshan, the films division, which was to make before the Doordarshan came into being, the films division, and now the Doordarshan. And in fact, and all the INB ministries, several bodies of INB ministries, and one of the persons was here today morning for the session. So the Science and Technology Ministry, the Defense Ministry, all these ministries have encouraged documentary filmmaking. And I would not go into what Manikant had to say about the nitty-gritty of documentary making, but I can only tell you that for you as young aspirants of the profession of mass communication, there's a huge scope for you in documentary making, in the area of documentary making. And it's not that it's because that National Geographic and Discovery, these channels have shown the kind of market that they have been able to develop in this country. So there is just not the market here for some very sensational news that we get to see in the name of news on television, but there are a lot of people following documentaries on television also, and which has been done very successfully. Some of the documentary channels which have not been able to take off, it has been largely because of the poor quality of documentaries that they made, because many are serious viewers who go to these channels to see a documentary. They go there for the cause of learning, and if they are not getting to learn anything new, why should they watch a documentary? So the challenge of making a documentary is all the more greater that you are actually giving to the people kind of a finding which any PhD thesis would give. So that is the challenge of documentary filmmaking. We all had in our younger days known about Nehru having made that written that book Discovery of India, but it was made by Shyam Benegal as a documentary, Bharat Ek Khoj. And in fact, I would suggest, if Manikanji would endorse this, that I would suggest that you should watch some of the documentaries which have been made by the parallel filmmakers of this country, like Shyam Benegal,
Manikal,
Govind Nahelani, and the excellent documentaries that they have made. Yes. The documentary on what you call the chicken workers of. In fact, they also came up with the concept of docudramas. Documentary told through a story. So they come up with the concept of docudrama, documentaries told through stories. So I'm very glad, Rameshji, that you could organize Cinephile in this manner, where we have actually, and this kind of seminars that we have had, that we have been able to have a chance to really know what goes into making the art which these people have created over the years. And to conclude, I must tell you, Manikant Thakur is a multifaceted personality. He is a man of, the people from the All India Radio say that he's man of the radio. People from Doordarshan say that he's a man of Doordarshan. The people from PIB say that he's man of information. And he is traveled very widely as the accompanying correspondent with some of the prime ministers of this country, prime ministers, presidents, vice presidents. So actually, he is a multitasking media person. And when I had gone to him, when I was discussing with him about Spandan, he insisted that he wants to talk about documentary making, and it was here and now that I get to see his real, accomplishments as a documentary filmmaker. Thank you so much, Manikanji, for having found time this morning and having come here and joined us. And most importantly, I don't know if it has been told to these people, that Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, who is a great communicator himself, depends on Manikant for showing his Man Ki Baat on Doordarshan. So that is his current assignment. This is very important for all of us to know this, that the kind of confidence which the government of India at the level of Prime Minister is reposed in the gentleman. Thank you so much for having joined us here today. Thank you, Rameshji. Thank you, Manya, Naman, and the whole team for having put together this show. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Professor Mishra, for your kind words. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks to everyone.
Thank you, sir, for the beautiful conclusion. We thank Mr. Nimish Kapoor, Mr. Rakesh Rao, and Dr. Manikant Thakur, and all the faculty members present here. Next up, we'll be starting with the webinar with our next set of guests. And Naman, over to you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining. So that was a great session. Next up, we have Mr. Jalal Jalani, who's a national and international award-winning green documentary filmmaker, and he will be imparting his knowledge in the specific field. I attended a film festival. Like I told you, Nimish Kapoor sir and Vigyan Prasad played a very important role in my life for becoming a filmmaker and aspiring filmmaker. Same with Jalal Jilani sir. I was in 10th standard, and during the break at sixth National Science Film Festival, he was talking to me, and I thought, why he's talking to me? But after the whole session, after the whole event, I came to know he's such a great person. So it is kind of a fanboying movement for me right now. Thank you so much, Jalal Jalani sir, for coming here. And hello, sir. I didn't meet you, sir.
Thank you, Naman. It's a great pleasure for me too. I'm joining from Kashmir. It's in Kashmir right now. We are under sub-zero conditions. Night temperature were almost 4 degrees minus Celsius, and right now we are within minus 2 degrees Celsius. And today we are expecting a huge snowfall.
Oh my God. I hope, sir, you are fine and everyone over there is fine.
Absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. I mean, snow for us, it's a kind of a blessing.
And I hope everyone takes away what I took that day from that conversation. So now I invite Mr. Jalal Jalani, sir, to take over. So over to you.
Okay, it's Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Adab, from me to everybody, whosoever is watching this webinar, whether you students, filmmakers, anybody. तो जहां तक फिल्म सफर का ताल्लुक है, जो मेरा फिल्म सफर रहा है, it's more or less say the volunteerism. It's activism based filmmaking, storytelling. Rather than say commercial filmmaker or say a complete professional filmmaker. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's about the green activism, which I was doing since last 25 years or 35 years, almost. You know, Kashmir, it's a place where conflict is running since almost 33 years. And Kashmir is based on nature, its economy, its culture, its art, its heritage, its livelihood, almost everything, every possible thing as far as Kashmir is concerned, it's based on nature. Even when we talk about, say, the tourism, the sports industry, the adventurism industry, the, say, art and craft, shawls, everything is nature-based. But due to the conflict, this place got some, say, different priorities, whether it was the government, whether it was the civil society, whether it was the NGOs, anybody whosoever is concerned with the administration, they had something full at their hands to deal with. That was the outcome of the conflict. So day-to-day law and order situations came in. They had to tackle them. The resources the government had or any concerned agency had, they put to the conflict. As far as conflict resolution is concerned, as far its political part and fallout is concerned. And what I could see in my tenure of life since I was a youth, I could see the nature with which we live, on which we live, livelihoods, it was completely ignored. It was like, it was going towards the devastation. The conflict fallout
was huge on nature, on its resources, be that glaciers, be that rivers, forests, lakes, ponds, the green cover we had, it got devastated. So in subconscious, in sub-mind, in soulful way, I felt, oh, this is the area which is being ignored by the government, civil society. It is my duty as a green activist, as a citizen of the state, as a citizen of the country, as a citizen of this globe, actually. I will have to play a bit in it. As an individual, as a storyteller, as a person who has been brought up with this, using the same resources of nature. I belong to a village, it's called Adipura, it's in a district Baramulla, which is on the banks of Asia's second largest lake called Buller Lake. It's these bounties. My father and mom, they have like taken those bounties and they have brought me up. They have educated me. So in my body, the blood, the flesh, the bones I have, it's actually the nature. It's actually the bounties of that Buller Lake. So but it was ruining before my eyes. It gave me kind of sadness. It let me down to some extent. But at the heart, at the soul level, I felt, no, I have to do something. So I started to create activism about this lake, about the rest of the environment. But it wasn't getting me anything, actually, in terms of introspection, in terms of reaching the authorities, reaching the people. Then I thought what to do, how it has to reach the people, how it has to reach the administration, how it has to reach the NGOs. So I took a camera and I took help from camera, and then I started to make some small stories about nature, about its utilities, how important it is for us, present generation, past generation, and to the generations in coming times. So let me start there is a small short film. It's called Saving the Savior. Please show it, and then we'll discuss a bit more.
Sir, due to some technical glitch, we could not hear you. Can you please repeat the last part?
Sorry?
Due to some technical glitch, we could not hear you. Can you please repeat the last part?
I'm telling you, please share on screen the short film called Saving the Savior.
Also, sir, we are short on time. So I would request you to wind up your talk till 12:30, 12:35. Thank you.
Life and death are the two sides of the same coin. What links them are stories. Some are beautiful, some romantic, and some heartbreaking.
Paran, patas mudum mul, temos zangue varmo, patas mudum so, patas pium lakchasi yapoi mosajanin, patas pium muoj benza paknavni.
Orphaned at the tender age of 9, Billa never saw life in its beautiful form. For him, it was all about pain and responsibilities greater than his age.
Ginana should book when the sad agar ginum to gindo. Aganata teleshoes was a doha city, Deriausimas. In Badla, deep coin, weep coin, Talan, Baranio, Pat Kalagar, Kana. Rapida was your one shot, honest. The war stations was Gandhi gave us on, I'm said, सह चवान त्रेश तवे तमे मूजूब बस वन साफ गन दरियाव.
Billa keeps collecting plastic and polythene and garbage from the Wooler banks and marshy lands, which he finds in abundance for his livelihood. But what's job for him might just be the only hope left for the struggling Wooler.
Am sat gazan nespa safai at warras. Agar botla hat tolo am sat nespa yahay jarashin chalana thabs. So botla mein dawa asan.
For Billa and Wooler, it's a symbiotic relationship. Billa, at his own level, is protecting the Wooler, and in return, he gets his much-needed earning.
Bushna kho sham tai agar khotus gar agar na tel chosa khoptan tai te yeti.
Billa finds Wooler as helpless as himself and cares for it like his family.
Tad mus gopan asan guir asan kya tha metes go mahol selim kharab aisa agar te chamo doi baad se gasan pat insan bemar.
Billa's Wooler Lake, a World Heritage Wetland Site under the Ramsar Convention Charter of UNESCO. UNESCO serves as the depository for the convention. It is an intergovernmental treaty which provides the framework for international cooperation for the conservation of wetland habitats. Conservation thus becomes obligatory, but Wooler Lake is yet to see the light of the day.
This is an issue-based film set in Wooler Lake, where you see Billa, through his character, through his narrative, through his innocence. I have tried to tell the story of Wooler Lake to the world. This is the same film which Prime Minister of India, Mr. Shri Narendra Modi ji, he talked about it in his Mann Ki Baat, and then it became a rage. And this is the same film which National Geographic channel on 19th of September, they telecast it across the globe on their all the channels actually. So in a way, there's a way out. Well, once you want to make an issue-based documentary, you have to think thematically, you have to think in terms of how to narrate a story so it can force the people to introspect inwards what we are doing to the nature, what responsibility rests with us. As an individual, you can do a lot actually. As a filmmaker, as a citizen, as a conscious person, you have a lot of responsibilities towards nature. You have a lot of responsibilities towards yourself and the nation. This is one of the ways how you can put up a documentary film in, say, an emotional architect, and that can bring a change. And I'm amply sure this film has brought a huge change as far as Kashmir environment is concerned. Let me go to another topic. Yesterday, we had a World Disability Day. That's the 3rd December. That we ran a film. It's called Mind, My Chair, Then Might. Please run it.
मैं सेकंड में पढ़ता था जब मुझे एक्सीडेंट हुआ आरा मशीन के साथ। उस वक्त वहाँ कोई मौजूद नहीं था। तो बाद में जो हमारे बाजू थे तो दोनों बाजू जो बाहर निकले और कुछ लोगों ने कहा कि इसको जहरी आप दे दो, जहर इसको मार डालो आप। मैं जब लोगों के सामने होता था तो लोग अलग रिएक्ट करते थे। वो कहते यार इसके पास हाथ नहीं है, ये बिना हाथों के कहीं नहीं जा सकता है, बिना हाथों के कुछ नहीं कर सकता है। ऐसे मेरी ज़िंदगी जो थी वो एक नरक की जैसी थी। लेकिन बाद में जब लोगों के बीच में रहा कि उस वक्त मुझे हौसला मिला कि वो इन बातों से मुझे दुख भी होता था, लेकिन मुझे इससे जो है हौसला मिलता था, मैं इनसे आगे जाऊँ, मैं इनसे आगे जाऊँ। ये हर वक्त मेरे जहन में रहा है कि मैं इनसे बेटर करूँ। अगर ये एक काम करते हैं मैं वो काम करूँ जो आज तक किसी ने ना किया। जो हमारे क्रिकेट हिस्ट्री में पहली गेंद हमने नेशनल में पकड़ी, उन्होंने पहली गेंद मुझे यार्कर डाली। उस यार्कर को हमने इस तरीके सामना किया, उस यार्कर को बॉलर भी दंग रह गया। तो दूसरी गेंद पर मैंने उसको चौका मारा। तो सभी जो लोग आए, मैं नॉट आउट रहा, 25 रन हमने उस वक्त मैंने बनाई और उन्हें मुझे अपने कंधे पर बिठाया। हमारे इस देश में क्या है ये, सभी जो है हैरान हो गए हमको देखकर।
आपकी नजरों ने समझा प्यार के काबिल मुझे, दिल की धड़कन ठहर जा, मिल गई मंजिल मुझे, आपकी नजरों ने समझा।
जहाँ जहाँ हम जाते थे किसी काम में भी, तो मुझे अक्सर रिजेक्ट ही करते थे। बिना हाथों आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं, ये नहीं, आप नहीं खेल सकते हैं, कहीं गेंद आई फिर क्या होगा। तो डर लगता था हर किसी को, लेकिन मैंने कभी भी हार नहीं मानी। तो मुझे ये दिखाना था, जो हाथों का काम है मैं करके दिखाऊंगा। ये इस गेम की वजह से आज इतना नाम है हमारा बुलंद। मैंने कभी जहन में भी हमने नहीं सोचा था कि मुझे आज पूरी वर्ल्ड जानेगी। मुझे खुद भी नहीं मालूम था। जब हम क्रिकेट खेलते हैं, बाहर खेलते हैं क्रिकेट, सभी लोग जो आते हैं देखते हैं कि ये कैसे खेलते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है ये सब ऊपर वाले का करम है।
This again a very powerful story from Kashmir. This is where a filmmaker can come in, he can chip in and tell the story to the world that how ability can overcome the disability. Imagine, Amir is absolutely a unique cricketer under the sky. There is no parallel to him. No same cricketer is playing as far as the cricket is concerned. And right now, after the story was put into the public domain, there's hardly any publication, hardly any channel which doesn't took the story. And since then, Amir's empowerment is huge now. He is captaining the Indian para-cricketing team. That's where the power of film can make the change on ground. And you can change the people's perspective. You can change the people's those superstitious things which they associate with a lot of things actually as far as our country is concerned. You can chip in and you can have that power. Let me go to the next one because we have a very less time. Let's go to Tulla dosing the bull. The first one.
मसला क्या है सर, इसका जब बात ही नहीं किया, बात करता ही नहीं सुनता है, नहीं बात करता है। अभी इसको हाथ से ही दिखाना पड़ता है। स्लाइडिंग आएगा तो इसको पत्थर या बर्फ फेंकना पड़ता है, फिर ये पहले ऊपर देखेगा फिर पीछे देखेगा। अगर स्लाइडिंग आया होगा तो ये पीछे भागेगा डोजर लेकर।
However, that has not stopped him from learning whatever is possible. You will see a lot of people who are disabled but they give up on their life and they tend to take the easier path. But this man, he has had the courage to learn a dozer. In fact, he can operate any equipment that is given to him, be it a dozer, be it an excavator, In the entire project Beacon, he is the best operator that we have, and he has many a times been caught in avalanches, been caught in slides, and he has come out unharmed by God's grace. But that has not stopped him from still working ahead and still operating the dozer. So you can imagine the amount of motivation that he has, the self-confidence that he has, and our reliance is a lot on him for doing this task.
I don't think we'll get any better competent boy like him. Recently during this snow clearance only, there was a height of 65 feet snow. Going was straight 45 degree. Everybody said we will not be able to climb with the dozer, and that was in a hard snow. So skidding is also a problem. He is the only guy who took the dozer straight way 45 degree climb. Not a single place it skidded down. It is only he can do it.
It has an implication for definitely for the state of Jammu and Kashmir, but definitely for the entire country, for the army, for the nation. So that itself is a motivating fact to produce good work.
As a documentary filmmaker, you have to choose your way. You have to come up with something different where you can put up a story in a manner it becomes, say, a brand of you as a filmmaker. And it tackles those issues which are in your mind. And these are not stories I have brought from Sikai or it's under the earth. These are stories around us. We have to keep we have to keep searching, and we have to do a lot of research about these stories. And we can put such stories for inspiration, for, say, giving them a do, actually, giving them some kind of empowerment. And these are the stories which tell you the groundwork, the kind of heroes we have in the same society where we are living. It's just a matter of your thought, your effort, and then your job doesn't end here as a filmmaker. To be as an activist filmmaker, your job ends when this guy or the change you want to bring out is actually happening on ground. So you have to keep fighting. For Tula, I am fighting with almost with whole of the Home Ministry that he needs his due. He's the single guy who can clear the road from Sonmarg to Ladakh. And this is the way where our whole of the army, where the rest of the security force, it's a very strategic place actually. If Tula is not there, road is blocked. If road is blocked, we can't move from Sonmarg to Ladakh. And it's there almost for 4 months or 6 months. And this is a very strategic road for the army to go into the Ladakh. And this is the point where it's almost a 16-kilometer stretch, which is the point where you have the altar from China and then Pakistan and then our borders are there. And this is the first target in case of if there is some conflict, something like that. So Tula is playing his huge part. He's a national hero actually. I'm fighting for him, his purpose that he needs to be declared as a national hero. So I'm hopeful, maybe it may take more time, but he needs that due and we have to give him that due. I suppose time is reached to what I was given.
सर अगर आपको सुन के बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, अगर हमारे पास और टाइम होता तो डेफिनेटली सर हम आपको थैंक यू सो मच. Thank you so much for being here. It was a wonderful time with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining despite of everything. This means a lot to me, a lot to us, a lot to every filmmaker. And sir, you have always been inspiring to me. I hope आज बहुत सारे लोग आपकी वजह से inspire हुए होंगे. And thank you so much once again, sir. Over to you, Manya.
Thank you so much, sir. Next up, we have Miss Aditi Sharma, who is a cinematographer and has worked on films like Tikli and Lakshmi Bomb and Tota Pataka Item Mal and produced some short films. She will be sharing her experience in her specific field. Ma'am, I attended multiple sessions that you hosted in the lockdown, and it was one of the best experiences. And I hope that it turns out just like that for everyone present here. I invite you to take over.
Thank you, Manya. That was very kind of you to say that. I was very new to doing this when the lockdown happened. I've never really gone online and conducted sessions for anybody. And roughly, how much time do I have? I have half an hour or so, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. We will have to wrap up around one.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I would love to keep aside some time for questions, because like I said, mostly what I can do is give a quick overview of what I do. So basically, I'm from Delhi. I graduated from Delhi University. I finished a course in mass media, and then went on to pursue a specialization in cinematography. And a lot of you, I'm guessing, are also in the middle of something similar, and you might be looking at options, various technical streams that you may like to explore in the film industry. And cinematography is also one such thing. And because we don't have too much time for me to get into the a lot of details into um, all about cinematography, what I can do is just take you through an overview. So what I can do is, I had made this presentation. So one thing that I take pride in is something that I, in as far as my work is concerned, I really like to kind of design my film well. And by design, I mean that I get into all sorts of small and big details about about the visual landscape of the film. So that's something that I often talk about in a lot of platforms. And that should, I'm guessing, give you a sense of what cinematography is and what it really does to a film. um, Basically, if I have to put it in one sentence, then my job as a cinematographer or director of photography on a film is to basically get translate the film from a script to a visual, and translate it in a way that aligns with the vision of the director. So cinematographers themselves are basically nothing in a film. What they can do and what they can achieve visually in a film depends a lot on the kind of things they have in their hand, like the script and a brief from the director. So so keeping that in mind, what I can do is just make you go through one presentation that I had used in one of the classes that I had taken. So this was basically designing for film, which should also, I'm hoping, should give you an idea about what our role is and what we do. So this is what I had basically taken them through. So the first thing that we do when we're working on a film is basically the script breakdown. So when we get the script, what happens is that most of how you want to design visually, you want to design your film, is always in the script. So if you read that well, which means you'll probably have to do multiple readings of the script, to basically get all sorts of action related points in it and mood related points in it. You will, the script will automatically tell you a lot of these inputs, they will all automatically come. So at this point, you just have to kind of be a sponge, listen to what the director has to say. Like I said, asking questions is really important. So you have to read and reread the script, and completely let it sink in your mind, let it become a part of your subconscious. And that's how you start visualizing it. Sometimes the script is really written so well that while you're reading it on the paper, it starts playing out in your head. So then, of course, related to that, you start making your notes about what you think would be a good way to go about it. What are the kind of visuals you're seeing, So make notes and ask a lot of questions. I generally tend to do that with the director. So what happens is when I'm working on a film, I spend a lot of time before we go on the floor. I personally spend a lot of time just doing this. You could say that in any of my film, I would have spent approximately 2 to 3 months just in this process, because this to me is really, really important. This is a make or break in a film, because this decides eventually what the film is going to look like. Because इसके बाद के जो process है वो सिर्फ करने वाले process है. So you already have a list of things that you need to do, and you just have to go out and execute them. But this is the most important thing. This is what you have to constantly train yourself for. And so ask a lot of questions. What I do with my directors is go and ask them how you seeing this scene, and what is the character thinking in this scene. So the first important thing is to understand whose story is it. If you look at any film, you will see that there's always one hero of the story. Now that one hero could be a man, a woman, a different character, like in animated films, or it could be an anti-hero also, which is not somebody who's completely but has shades of gray. So whatever it might be, it's always a story of that one central character, and the story must be seen, because it's always written like that. So if you were to sit and chat with a writer, that person will also tell you that this is how writing of a story is also done, that they identify certain central character, and then the journey of that character is basically the film. So once you as a technician understand, okay, this is my central character, this is the person whose story I'm following, the perspective and the language and the grammar of the film basically is woven around that. So then you know that if I'm following his journey, then this is how he or she is feeling in this moment. And then once you know that, then that's how you create the mood and feel for your scenes. Then that's how you decide how you're going to light it up, what kind of colors you're going to use. So a lot of people ask me, how do you decide your color palettes? And I say, go back to the script, go back to how the person is feeling in this moment. So you have to essentially read and reread the script and create the world of the characters, that this is their world. This is their house, this is their workplace, this is how they travel, this is how this is how they function. So go out and create that world visually. It's very, very important, because what will eventually happen in a film is that there are some things which you are going to go out and say aloud to the audience. In terms of your dialogues, the character will basically say that this is for example, this is the only thing I can afford, because I come from a really poor family. So those things, details will come through dialogues. But then if you show the person living in a house which is run down and which is aged and wearing clothes which are not very fancy, those are visual details which will speak for themselves. So it's really, really important that you make an effort to define the world of those characters, and then work towards that. One easy thing, one uh, tip to kind of know, because sometimes you don't really know what questions to ask your director. Sometimes directors also are not equipped to kind of give the right brief to their technicians, because they don't have that kind of experience. Probably it's their first film. So a good question to start a dialogue with your director is to ask them, what do they want the audience to feel? And once you've asked this question, trust me, 90% of the time the directors will give you the brief for the scene or the film without them knowing it. So it's a very efficient question, a very productive question to ask them, because eventually that's what you're trying to do. So you have to always keep in mind, if the audience is watching it, what are they taking from this scene? How are they supposed to feel? Are they supposed to feel happy? Are they supposed to feel sad? Are they supposed to feel frustrated? What are they supposed to feel? So once you know that core emotion of the story and the scene, then you can create. So these are, like I like to say, that these are the bricks that you have. This is the clay that you get to basically create a wall with. So this process to me is really, really important, designing the film. And I think it should also be very, very important for anybody who's trying to make a film, whether a technician or a director, that this is how you create a visual landscape for the film. So basically this is how I do it. I make notes where I feel that I don't want to shoot this in the day, but this works better with an early morning scene. I write that. Wherever I feel that we might need a gimbal, I do that. Where I feel like we need a transition here, we do that. So I kind of, and like I've underlined the word stress, because I realize that this is going to be really, really important when I start to think about how the scene is going to look and feel like. Um, the next thing that you decide is the look and feel. You've got to think like an audience. Like I said, you have to understand what you want your audience to feel like. You have to deliver it like a cinematographer. So it's not, once you do understand that this is the core emotion of the scene, then after that you have to get down to business, because eventually you are a technician. So you have to now understand how you're going to achieve that. And this is where training comes in. Before this, whatever you're doing, it has got a lot to do with your own sensibility as a filmmaker, your own understanding and your own liking as a filmmaker. What kind of, how do you see, because we all see the same emotions differently, we all feel the same emotions differently. So before this, everything is, kind of um, depends on you as an artist. But this is the part now which is you as a technician. So now this is where your training kicks in, and you understand, okay, if I have to light this scene in this kind of a mood, then how do I do that? What kind of lights do I use? What kind of rigs do I use? What kind of lenses do I use? So note the key takeaways. You set the mood. Now research is important. You could probably go back and see if there's similar kind of work that people have done, and most likely you will find it, because all sorts of stories are going around all over the world. It's very easy to find out who's doing similar kind of work, and who has been able to create a similar kind of world for their characters. Some directors do it really, really well. They really get into those little details, and they're able to do it very well. Like for example, if you see a recent film like Parasite, which a lot of people give me an example of, the kind of contrast they've been able to create between the visual landscapes of both kinds of families. It's something to learn from. That's how, it's effective when you see a certain kind of a house and a family and people, in terms of characters also. It's not just something that you need to do with the things you have, but also with the people themselves. So research, but you must understand the uniqueness of your own story. So I'm not a big proponent of referencing. I'm not a big proponent of going and finding inspiration outside, because your story is definitely unique. There's something new that you're trying to say which hasn't been said before, even if the world that you're setting it in is something that has been seen before. Now in my film, if I take an example of my own film, Tikli and Lakshmi Bomb. So it was a story about these group of prostitutes in Bombay. And now several stories have already been said about that kind of strata of society, about those sex workers. It has already been said, so I could always go back and see what other people have done, and how they've managed to create that world of sex workers. But I also did realize at the same time that the story that we are trying to tell is very different. We're not trying to kind of say that, oh, dekho bichari sex worker, she's very this thing. We're not trying to go to that side. What we're trying to say is that we need to make this system into a legal system, so that these women who are kind of earning their daily bread by this business, they need to have some kind of a safety net, because they are abused by the system. And we need to give them some kind of a safety net. So that was a very unique perspective on these women, and we were talking about empowerment of these women, as opposed to seeing them as victims. So which means that then I have to think like that visually. Then the whole treatment has to be much more bold, and you have to start seeing them as people. And it's also something that the brief that comes from the director, who says that I want to make it realistic. So that you've been to Kamatipur. I went there and I researched and I saw what those women looked like, and they just looked like any other normal woman. They did not look like what we've been portraying them as in the films which were made earlier. And so that right then that this world has to look very different than what has been done before. So do your research, of course, see what other people have done, but don't ever base your entire design process only on what other people have done, because your story must have something unique. Otherwise the writer wouldn't have written it and the director wouldn't make it. So this is something. I met Wally Pfister. He's a Oscar winning DP of Nolan's DP basically. And I had met him in LA one time, and this is what he said to me, and I think this is something that has always stayed with me, that the script will tell you how it needs to be shot. So going back to the same thing, that you really, really need to go back and absorb the script as much as you can. Then of course, there are various processes. There's shot breakdowns that you need to do, which is a collaborative process. You do it with the directors. What you basically need to decide is whether you want moving shots or static shots. What kind of lensing do you want? What kind of an edit? Because edit and sound design also is something which affects the way the film will be shot. If you're going to have a very fast-paced kind of an edit for a film, then it means the shots also have to be, they can't be like lengthy pans in the film. Then you have to have like really quick shots, quick movements of the actors and so on. So this is something we do. Then of course, what you need to decide is that your camera and lensing, they both depend upon various different factors. Of course, your budget is important. You need to look at what you require, whether you require a smaller camera, like particularly, I remember that we were supposed to be shooting in these places which were really dark. So I knew that, I had to use a camera which was better for low light. So low light was one of my requirements. We were supposed to shoot in smaller spaces. So I knew that a compact camera is one of my requirements. And at that point, we kind of understood that we might have to release this on theater. So which meant that I had to then choose a format which could work well with theater and as well as web. So we went with a camera which could shoot raw. So that's your release format. And of course, then there are special needs, like if there's underwater photography or aerial photography involved, then that's what you have to do. So once you made your requirement, on basis of that, you choose your camera and lensing. Lensing, of course, is something which also involves a lot of personal aesthetics. There are certain kind of sharp kind of lenses which I don't like personally, and I don't like using it, and I don't use it. But of course, I'm not going to let that come in the way of the requirement of the film. But it's also a choice that you have. Of course, then one thing I really, really recommend is for everybody, for directors as well as technicians, that you must test out everything. It shouldn't be left for the day of the shoot. So whatever it is that you're doing, have rehearsals with your actors, do your blockings, test your equipment out, mount it wherever you have to, but test everything so that and through, not just like you've shot it with your phones and everything, but shoot it with a proper camera, take it to the post, see if the workflow is sitting well. That's how you decide your color palettes, what's your story, what's your mood, what are your characters, what are they feeling. Get inside their head and see what they feel at this moment in the film, and that's how you decide what colors you want to use. For color palettes also, what you need to do is collaborate with your production designers, because everything has to be seamless. It's not you just don't decide your color palettes basis on what you're going to do with your image, but also the color palettes are for everyone. So the production designer has to come in and follow the palettes, the costumes and the locations, everything together decide the colors of the film. So everything, try to control it as much as you can. Then go on and create lighting design so that everything basically needs to be on paper. So design it according to the mood and feel of the story, write it down, make location maps, make your lighting diagrams, make your requirement lists, what all do you need down to the last bit, and then execute it. So go on a tech recce, figure out where you're going to place your lights, where's the power going to come from, how much cable do you need to connect those lights, are you going to need anything special to transport the light and lighting equipment from one place to the other. So all those are things that you need to figure out. What is the best angle for the lights, where you're going to hang them, how are you going to hang them. So those are things that you should do before you start finalizing things for your lighting. Again, lighting again is a collaborative thing. You need to collaborate with your gaffers, your assistants, so everybody, your electricians, everyone must come together and do this, and you go and shoot. Post production, really, really important. You've got to understand the workflow. Every camera today has a different set of workflow that must be clear to you. They're all shooting on different formats, different codecs. Make sure you understand every single thing, that if this is how I'm going to shoot, if these are the settings I'm going to keep in the camera while shooting, then this is how it's going to come on the edit. These are the codecs we're going to use during the edit. This is how we're going to take it to the grading system. This is how the export will be taken. This is the leeway I have. So this is the exposure I can keep. Everything should be, again, going back, test. So pre-production, meet the editor, conduct your tests, know the formats that you're working with. Be mindful when you've spoken to the editor and you've understood what needs to be done. Be mindful of that. So my colorist often tells me, when I'm doing these tests, he will come and tell me कि इतना अगर exposure इतना difference होगा exposure में, तो फिर ये मैं post में नहीं संभाल सकता, तो ये हम लोग ठीक नहीं कर पाएंगे बाद में. ये वाले लाइट में अगर आपने शूट किया तो फिर इसको हम बाद में ठीक नहीं कर पाएंगे. So don't use this light, because this is the problem. Don't underexpose or overexpose beyond 2 stops, because then this is going to be a problem. So these are different things. Every camera will be different in terms of its exposures and its texture. Every camera will have a different workflow. So these tests need to be conducted every time. I do it every time in the kind of light that I know I'll be shooting in, because all these things make a difference. So when you've conducted your tests, you know them, there's very little chance of you making mistakes. So be mindful of those things. Check the rushes as much as you can, so that you know if you're not making a mistake. And of course, post is really important. So you follow your palette that you've already decided, you balance the image, you correct the mistakes, and add or subtract whatever it is that you want to do. So that's the process of cinematography. I will just stop sharing, and if there are any questions, then I could take that.
If anybody has any questions, you can leave them in the Q&A.
We have one question. It was asked by Kshitij Pandey. It was for Manikant Thakur, sir. If
It's
ma'am,
not
if you can answer the question, that will be great, ma'am.
Me?
It is about documentary, so
I love the documentaries. My question is the difference between reporting an event and documenting an event. I would think not. I don't think that reporting or documenting an event is the same thing. Of course, making a documentary on a subject is different than simply documenting the event, because I think, like sir had also shown in his presentation, that there are various different kinds of documentaries that are made. So that film may not necessarily only be you kind of just reporting the facts as they are, but it also mean that you may want to find a personal perspective on it. You may want to include yourself in the film, see it from one person's point of view, and of course an experimental film. So I think reporting an event and documenting is the same thing, but making a documentary on something is different. So reportage kind of documentary is only one kind of documentary filmmaking, and there are many others also.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the amazing presentation. We had a great time. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to invite Dr. Charulata Singh, Professor Dr. Charulata Singh, to announce the result for the filmmaking competition that we organized.
Thank you, Manya. Thank you. And I would like to thank Mr. Jalal and Ms. Aditi for their such an interesting webinar with the students. And I'm sure the students have gained a lot from that. And now it's time for the awards of the filmmaking competition. And as I said in the beginning, there were five shortlisted entries for prize. To start with, in the PSM category, there is one award which goes to Karina, Aman, Jasmine, Jagriti, and Kashish. So, good round of applause to the winners. Okay, now we have the second category was the short film category. In the short film category, the second prize goes to Ish Khanna for the film Lockdown Hero, and the duration was 11 minutes 52 seconds. The first prize goes to Shashank for his short film. So congratulations to both the winners. And the another category which was there was the documentary filmmaking. In the documentary filmmaking, the second prize goes to Aanch for Zindagi. No, the third in this, I think there are 3 prizes or 2. I think second prizes are 2, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, 2 second prizes are there. One is Aanch per Zindagi, and the second is a pinch of inspiration, Resha Bhardwaj. So these 2 are the second. There's a tie in the second prize. The first prize in documentary filmmaking goes to Khushi Kabra for the film Apart, Not Alone. So congratulations to all the winners, and I congratulate all the entries and all the participants in the filmmaking competition under Cinephile. So congratulations to all, and thank you everyone. Thank you Ramesh sir, thank you all the students and all the guests. Yeah, you can continue with the conclusion.
Thank you, ma'am. Due to shortage of time, we were not able to screen the films, but we will surely put the posters and announce the results on social media. And to conclude the session, we hope that you all had a good time, and it was definitely insightful for all of us. We thank our faculty coordinator, Dr. Ramesh Sharma, for his guidance throughout, Professor Charulata Singh, Professor Siddharth Mishra for their constant support, and all of our guests for the webinar, Ms. Aditi Sharma and Mr. Jalal Jalani. And we would also like to thank our gifting partner, Flavor and Unboxed, and our collaborator, Vigyan Prasad. Last but not the least, I'd like to thank the team, including Archit Malhotra, Namanis sir, and Shantanu Ghosh for the outstanding coordination and efforts put into the event. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for being here. Before leaving, I would request all the panelists to switch on their camera. Ramesh sir, हम selfie लेने वाले हैं. I would request every panelist to switch on their camera. Akansha ma'am, Amit sir, Ankit sir, Anurag sir का camera on है. Bhumika ma'am, Devrati ma'am, Anila ma'am, Praveen sir, please switch on your cameras. Atul sir, Saloni ma'am, Sanchit, please switch on your camera. And thank you so much for being here. And now just pause. We have to wait for Mrilanini ma'am. Camera is loading. Very sorry.
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to. Yeah.
Yeah, you're here. I would thank everyone to be here. Also, I would request everyone to fill the feedback form. We are posting right now in the in the chat box. Also, do check all the events that are lined up. We have the off-screen podcasts, and then we have Bolo Dil Se. Also, we have a. Let me check the schedule. I'm very sorry.
Join in for the later events and follow the website.
Yeah, we have visual identity, we have Hunar Talks, we have your safe space and open mic. Also, we have a closing event streaming straight from Canada, the tunes and talks and tunes. So I would request everyone to be there. Also, I'm just posting the feedback form.
To finally wrap up, all the participants and the winners will get the prizes and the participation certificate soon. We will send it to you. And thank you for attending the session. Thank you all the faculty members for being here for the support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Manya.
Thank you, everyone.